Swishy streams, all that content is bursting the seams. Politics being inflame more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Viva Bojack, 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 Viva Bojack. That's what I'm talking about. First time singing the songs for Viva Bojack. Shout out. I don't know what I'm doing really, but I got passion. That's what it's about. It's all about passion. Viva Bojack.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
Who we can be unburdened by who we have been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Where
That's
we
my
can be
president right
unburdened
there.
by where we have been and unburdened by where we are right now.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What could be unburdened by what had been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened by what has been, believing in what can be.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What could be unburdened by what had been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be, what should be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. See what can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. Unburdened by what has been and knowing what can be. Have a sense of vision about what can be unburdened by what has been. To see what can be unburdened by what has been. What can be
unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What could be unburdened by what had been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. Where we can be unburdened by where we have been.
What was possible, unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be
Erica, have you not seen me play this before?
by what has been. That can be unburdened by what has been.
There are those who are unable to see what
this.
can be, but there are many more who are able to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
I can't believe that this was cut by the GOP, dude. You want to know, by the way, I just found out that the whole coconut meme, you guys know, like, she didn't just fall out of the coconut tree yesterday, right? Just real quick. Do you know where that came from? Do you know where this clip came from?
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
This video is from the GOP War Room. It's official. That video was clipped by the GOP party apparatus to try and make her look bad. Like, my God. Like, I think we're onto something here, okay? I think Kamala has the potential to be an incredibly memeable candidate. Like, I think, yeah, that's the context of the laugh sound, and it's the context of the whole, like, coconut tree memes. Literally, in both cases, the GOP was like, yes, this will make her look bad, and you just made it a leftist meme. But, like, that's how it gained, like, mainstream traction. The GOP paid to do that. It's just that people like it. Does it make her look bad? To conservatives, yes. I'm guessing because, black/brown woman said she fell out of a coconut tree. The association, you see, because they're racists. Mixed with, like, she's just laughing kind of cringely after saying this very weird thing. So, like, I think that's kind of what their thought process was. I like laughing when a candidate says something funny rather than scared laughing because they're senile. Yeah. Yeah, I know that right now the GOP is trying to re-gear itself to deal with Kamala. And it seems like the Democratic Party has kind of coalesced behind calls for Kamala to be president. But I still don't think they're going to get anything. I feel like they're going to just continually recreate memes. Is America coconut pilled yet? I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part.
They put up the red flag.
Oh, good. There we go. I'm doing my part. Meanwhile, Brianna Wu is on Twitter right now defending the sanctity of Starship troopers. a relatively mid novel by Robert Heinlein, and a legendary film by Verhoeven. Oh no? Oh yeah. People keep putting that bitch on my timeline. I have her muted for a reason. I don't want to see her shit. And yet the horrors persist. Hey, PC Shores. Anyway, I'm coconut pilled now. We're all part of the Neo K Hive. This is a Neo K Hive channel. All right, buzz, motherfuckers. We need to get a bee. We need to get a bee meme, like a bee emoji for site chat, so you guys can all buzz together. Cause you know what they say: the hive that buzzes together stays together. I can do that. Hell yeah, Togor. A bee with Kamala's face. I feel like that might be too weird. That might be too, you know, that might really tap into this energy.
This is just too surreal for me.
Yeah. Also, I have my very special Latex event later tonight. So around like 4 o'clock, 4:30, I'm going to start putting on makeup. So just letting you guys know that ahead of time. That's also why I'm like going to be moisturizing my face like crazy. Buzz, buds. We're going to be buzz buds, okay? Buzz buddies. Kamala with a bee's face? That's even more horrific. What's the name of the fly monster? The brindle fly? Don't turn Kamala into a brindle bee. Latex event? Yeah, I'm going to like a latex, like, I don't know, fetish wear party. It's not like it's not like an orgy or anything. Just people go to a party dressed in latex. Oh, buzzies! Yeah, Rundo, we're all buzzies here. There's a lot of buzz around the Neo K Hive. Latex is better than leather? Absolutely. Especially in the summertime. Holy moly. That sounds like a lot of fun. It is. But yeah, gotta moisturize this face. Cause I want the I want the makeup to stay on my face and not run down my face, you know? Bois Hive? Yeah. That's the name of our individual hive, the Bois Hive. Wow. The orgy's at a second undisclosed party? No. Is Harris kind of hot? I'm not weighing in on this. You guys be degenerate on your own. How you doing, Metal Kitty Mom? Hello, Gwenifer. Hello, Christinos. Hello, Three Geese in a Trench Coat. Hello, Sweeney Jimbus. Hello, Mr. Malachite. Hello, Calumet. Hello, VCC TV. Hello, Feistiest Bard. Hello, German Cow JJ. Hello, Paladin Lost. Coconut Jack Mythos confirmed. Why, what do you think I was trading up and down the riverboat, if not coconuts? Hello, Miranda V. Hello, Kin Merrick. Hello, ACAB includes Tone Police. Hello, Alex. Hello, Emir Alpaslan. Hello, John Bainbridge. Hello, Darth Gently. Hello, Shai Halud. Hello. Hello, Mike B. Hello, Lanzetta. Hello, Paladin Jukes. Hello, Fenri. Also, for all the paladins out there.
Do you want to tank? Do you want to fight? Do you want a class that'll instill fright, take up some plate, and keep the goblins in sight? Because you want to make sure they eat this paladin smite! Fuck you, gods. If you want me to play your game of ethics, you can kiss my shiny plate mail. Alright, fine. Wait a minute, what the hell is that noise?
Ooh, overwhelmed, but the culinary classes. That sounds great. It'll help take your mind off of the whatever's overwhelming you. Hello, Cave Dweller Togor. Hello, Mathatyahu. Hello, Story the Bard. Hello, PC Schwarz. Hello, Dragonfly. Hello, everybody. Hello, Aska. How we all doing? Ooh, Khaj. I like that. No. I don't know that that makes sense with anything, but like I like the sound of that word. I would name it something in a D&D setting. Hey, Penny Auntie. Anyway, there's not like a ton of news. More Democrats are coming out against Biden or whatever. Like, it's continuing. The process is going. The reporting says his family is in talks now on how he can step down. We'll see what happens. You know,
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Yeah, we'll see how the Democrats shake out. But I figured, you know, we could like play like I could play a video game. We could like go over like true crime or like a leftist video essay or something. I think that could be fun. Instead of subjecting you constantly to the horrors of this world, we could do true crime, which is a different kind of horror of this world. Or we could do we could learn about like the rise of fascism in the United States from Three Arrows, or
Mr. Birchum.
we could learn about Mr. Birchum from Jose. I don't know. I'm just spitballing some ideas here. Buzz, buzz, bitches. No true crime? Well, golly. 2 for true crime, 1 for anti-true crime. The Jose video is pretty good. Watched it earlier. Well, Jose just makes bangers. Like, that's... Jose is 2 things. You know, number 1, non-controversial, and number 2, a creator of bangers. Drawing bees for free for socialism? Hell yeah. Because we have a new... As for true crime, we have a new Matt Orchard video out, and I figured that might be fun, because I fucking adore Matt Orchard's videos. They're very well made. Chirp, chirp, motherflockers. Matt Orchard? It's about a stabbing. You guys okay with that? I guess it will be a small video. I don't know. Use a freebie. I love Matt. I do love Matt too. Damn! Alright.
Buying votes for not true crime. Ooh, electoral corruption.
Trains and bullshit. Thank you for the $20 dono, and I'm not gonna lie, that does carry a lot of weight with me. Especially today, where my investment is very low. So, how about we do this Three Arrows video about America's coming Weimar moment and see if Three Arrows accurately predicted our current moment. You know, like Donald Trump literally ended the RNC by talking essentially about the Weimar state of America. So, like, I figure it's kind of apropos. Hello, Jessica Metal. Hello, Nasty Redacted.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Got a new video for ya here.
What a lovely voice this man has.
Sort of. I recorded this for the podcast, but after listening to the whole thing, I thought you guys might dig it also. So I'm just gonna put it here for you to listen to, and without any further ado, enjoy and cue the intro.
We are determined that the vicious German cycle of war, phony peace, shall once and for all time come to an end.
This is London Court. Here is a news flash. The German radio has just announced that Hitler is dead.
Early this morning, the Soviet troops launched the general attack on Prussia.
Those who foolishly sought power by riding the back of the tiger ended up inside.
Tonight I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man.
Volume good?
Have seen the
say that we are mired in stalemate.
Good volume?
Seems the only realistic, if unsatisfactory conclusion.
Over 1 million people here celebrating a day that they never thought would come. A day in which Germany became
much
one
better.
country again.
Launched the opening salvo of Operation Iraqi Freedom.
If the iron dice must roll, may God help us.
What is up, my lovelies? It's Dan Arrows here, bringing you another episode of the Iron Dice.
First name
Admittedly,
Dan,
a bit of a gap
last
filler,
name
as I'm
Arrows.
working on the next Fight for the Republic. We're getting close to the end of that series, so I need to take some extra time to tie up the loose ends. Anyway, one thing that often comes up in the context of that show is listeners drawing the parallel between interwar Germany and the contemporary United States. Also, if you follow a lot of US political analysis, it's inescapable. And yeah, plenty of people called George W. Bush a Nazi and compared him to Hitler, whatever. But that was very much on the fringe of political commentary, and historians didn't validate that. Now, it's much different. But I don't want to redo the whole
all the
is Trump a
historians and like
fascist,
genocide
pedantic
studiers
back and forth here. I think
like
that has been regurgitated
Holocaust
enough.
studiers.
But I want to talk about
like, oh
the
man,
US
this guy's
and
really Hitler.
Weimar Germany more broadly. What is kind of fascinating about that comparison is that there is a little bit in it for everyone, it seems. Resistance liberals who spend 18 hours a day on Twitter get to LARP as the White Rose or whatever, without experiencing any sort of real danger or stakes to their political stance. People to the left of them get to showcase their moral superiority whenever some centrist Democrat is friendly with Lindsey Graham or whoever, pointing out that this is just like in Weimar, liberals aligning with fascists again. Equally annoying, if you ask me. And even the far right gets in on the action sometimes. 2 months ago, Tucker Carlson did a segment about a fight breaking out at a Pride event between attendees and some idiot protesters, and he began that segment by saying, "Just another weekend in Weimar." What Tucker means with that exactly, who knows? Could be because political fights are kinda associated with that period,
make an
or
assumption.
given it's Tucker Carlson, stepping in the footsteps of the German far right in decrying public degeneracy, whatever. I think it's fair to say that the idea of a democracy in decline, as was the Weimar Republic, greatly resonates in the United States right now, as everyone is looking for a way out of the current crisis. Unfortunately, a lot of these comparisons revolve around Trump being the American Hitler, which misses the forest for the trees in my opinion. When the Nazis took over and turned the country into a fascist dictatorship, German democracy had been functionally dead for years. Elections were held, but the results of those elections did not have the potential to make the way for significant changes. After April 1930, the German parliament was in a state of permanent gridlock, paralyzed by the fact that no majority could form, and with no majority, the parliament can't enact laws. And when people see that, see that their country is circling the drain with no means of democratically moving the levers of power, it erodes respect for these institutions and democratic norms more broadly.
Yeah, I got a giant peanut.
Might sound
Thanks,
a bit
Megastar. I'm
familiar
gonna
to
look
you.
even cuter
And this
later.
is just really one aspect of Weimar Germany's institutions failing to provide democratic stability. The most topical example, if we're sticking with the comparison of Weimar Germany to the United States, is the courts. In the wake of Roe v. Wade, belief in the Supreme Court as an impartial, non-partisan institution has bottomed out, hitting its lowest point on record, as even the last person who didn't get the memo in 2000, after Bush v. Gore, realizes what the Supreme Court actually is. We talked a little bit about this in the Fight for the Republic series, but the existence of openly right-wing courts was something that constantly dragged down German democracy in the 20s and arguably dealt it its lethal blow. So let's talk about that first. Contrary to the current situation in the United States, the German judiciary didn't have to be captured by the right wing in a decades-long project. It pretty much was right-wing from the get-go. Quick look at the timeline here. Germany unifies in 1871 as a monarchy, and judges and state officials more broadly undergo a so-called patriotic education, connecting their function as a judge not to the law or higher ideals, but the Kaiser and the monarchy more broadly. Fast forward to 1918, Germany isn't doing so well in the World War anymore, unfortunately, and when the word gets round about this, sailors in the northern port cities tell their superiors to get lost. They put up the red flag over the German navy, and from there the revolution spreads from city to city, toppling the monarchy like a row of dominoes.
Hell yeah,
the
topple
Kaiser
that
flees
monarchy.
into exile, and a new government is put in place, now tasked with creating a democratic republic. So far, so good. Now put yourself in those guys' shoes. You are facing this gigantic task of creating a democracy from whole cloth, transitioning the economy back from its worst state, and negotiating an exit from the war, all while not being overthrown by a right-wing counter-revolution. The thing about the German Revolution in 1918 was it all happened very, very fast. From the sailors refusing to take orders to the Republic being declared in Berlin, it's not even 2 weeks. So there was no time for a broader social change affecting every layer of society. Now, if you are the German government, the new German government, what do you do with these right-wing judges and state officials that keep things running? Basically, you only have two options. First option, make a clean sweep and kick them all out. Try to put in your own people and create a democratic institution that way. Problem with that is, who are you going to put in their place?
Going over a
There's no one who can immediately fill those roles who has not undergone the same education as these guys. Without all the bureaucrats, it also means the state apparatus pretty much grinds to a halt, creating instability. That instability will be associated with the Republic in the minds of the public, and make this new system seem chaotic compared to the old one. You also drive all these judges and state officials further into the arms of the right wing that is working on overthrowing you from minute one. So just kicking everyone out kinda seemed like slitting your own throat to the government at the time. The second option you have is letting these people keep their positions, make them swear allegiance to the Republic and the new constitution, change the education system, and hope that they will kinda grow into the new system. The issue here is, of course, that you now have a huge part of the state that is hostile to democracy and actively undermines the government when given the chance. The right-wing judges in particular are now in a position where they can legally sanction actions against the state through their rulings. That is the route the German government took at the time, and in doing that, instead of slitting their own throat, they just kind of slowly strangled themselves with that decision. A lot of these judges completely rejected the idea that any law that was not ordained by the monarch but coming out of...
It's talking forever, but it'll be worth it. 2 hearts.
Well, Megastar, thank you for being a member for the last 5 months. I very much appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. And I hope you have fun with Kingdom Hearts.
the democratic consensus in Parliament to be, quote, party, class, and bastard law, the law of lies. This quote is from the chairman of the German Judges Confederation. And that really should be no surprise, because until the revolution, it was the judges' explicit job description to persecute and punish those now holding a majority in Parliament. I want to give you an idea of what this meant in practice. There was a statistician in the early 20s who went through a number of court cases and catalogued them according to political affiliation and sentence given. According to this statistician, 22 political murders done by left-wing perpetrators between 1919 and 1922 led to 38 convictions, including 10 executions and prison sentences averaging 15 years apiece. In the same time,
is this suddenly... Is it because I enabled like
time frame, 354 murders committed by the right wing led to 24 convictions, 0 executions, and average prison sentences of 4 months. Lost. They put up the red flag over the German Navy, and from there the revolution spreads from city to city, toppling the monarchy like a row of dominoes. The Kaiser flees into exile, and a new government is put in place, now tasked with creating a democratic republic. So far, so good. Now put yourself in those guys' shoes. You are facing this gigantic task of creating a democracy from whole cloth, transitioning the economy back from its worst state, and negotiating an exit from the war. All while not being overthrown by a right-wing counter-revolution. The thing about the German Revolution in 1918 was it all happened very, very fast. From the sailors refusing to take orders to the Republic being declared in Berlin, it's not even 2 weeks. So there was no time for a broader social change affecting every layer of society. Now, if you are the German government, the new German government, what do you do with these right-wing judges and state officials that keep things running? Basically, you only have 2 options. First option, make a clean sweep and kick them all out.
Wait.
Try to put in your own people and create
I didn't realize we were doing the exact same segment again. Okay, here we go.
Decision.
My bad.
A lot of these judges completely rejected the idea that any law that was not ordained by the monarch but coming out of the democratic consensus in Parliament to be, quote, party, class, and bastard law, the law of lies.
The law of the bastard.
This quote is from the chairman of the German Judges Confederation. And that really should be no surprise, because until the revolution, it was the judges' explicit job description to persecute and punish those now holding a majority in Parliament. I want to give you an idea of what this meant in practice. There was a statistician in the early 20s who went through a number of court cases and catalogued them according to political affiliation and sentence given. According to this statistician, 22 political murders done by left-wing perpetrators between 1919 and 1922 led to 38 convictions, including 10 executions and prison sentences averaging 15 years apiece. In the same time frame, 354 murders committed by the right wing led to 24 convictions, 0 executions, and average prison sentences of 4 months. Basically, if you went in front of a judge and were able to convince him that you acted out of a selfless patriotic duty, you were good to go. The effect that this has is not only giving a green light to the right wing to just murder their political opponents, but also completely destroys the idea of an impartial legal system to the left wing. How are you going to sell someone on the left on this new system in the face of those numbers?
For what it's worth, I don't think your stand-up sucks, and it's stolen from other comedians.
Went all the way.
Thank you. But you should probably think that my stand-up sucks, because I'm not a stand-up comedian. I feel like you can. I feel like you can absolutely tell me that my stand-up sucks. It won't hurt my feelings.
Up to the German Supreme Court or Reich Court, as its name was.
Do you
and
do
the best
stand-up?
example
No.
I could find about
No,
this
I don't.
comes from Richard Evans' The Coming of the Third Reich, where he talks about a
stand-up
case against
sucks 'cause
4
I'm
men
sitting down.
in 1923. These men had been sentenced to 3 months in prison by a lower court for shouting
Yeah,
the
I'm a sit-down
sentences,
comedian.
"We don't need a Jew
Would you
republic,
guys classify
boo
me
the
as
Jew
a comedian?
republic."
'Cause,
Because
like, I
attacking
would-
the foundations of the state in that way was against the law, and
Like,
I'm
I
pretty
think I'm-
sure still
I
is
think
in
I'm,
Germany.
like, at best, chuckle
Eventually,
funny.
this case landed in front of the Reich Court, which overturned the sentence with the following explanation. They, talking about the 4 men, could mean the new legal and social order in Germany, in whose establishment the participation of German and foreign Jews was outstanding. They could also mean the excessive power and the excessive influence that a number of Jews, that is small in relation to the total population, exercises in reality in the view of large sections of the people. It has not even been explicitly established that the accused shouted abuse at the constitutionally
since I
anchored
got things I
form
don't
of
do.
the State of the Reich, only that they shouted abuse at the present form of State of the Reich. The possibility of a legal error is thereby not excluded. So these
okay, I
judges
haven't been this
basically
way yet.
said that the current German democratic state was a temporary aberration from the real Reich, and also said Weimar kinda is a Jew republic. And these were the men tasked with interpreting and defending Weimar Germany's constitution. Richard Evans concludes his chapter on this with the following. The right-wing and anti-republican bias of the judiciary was shared by state prosecutors as well, in considering what charges to bring against right-wing offenders, in dealing with pleas and examining witnesses, even in framing their opening and closing speeches. Prosecutors routinely treated nationalist
sit-down
beliefs and
chuckle
intentions
artist?
as
All
mitigating
right, I'll take it.
factors.
I'll
In
take
these
it.
various
Thank you,
ways,
leftward hoe.
judges and prosecutors, police, prison governors and wardens, legal administrators and law enforcement agents of all kinds undermine the legitimacy of the Republic through their bias in favor of its enemies. Even if they did not deliberately set out to sabotage the new democracy, even if they accepted it for the time being as an unavoidable necessity, the effect of their conduct was to spread the assumption that in some way it did not represent the true essence of the German Reich. Few of them seem to have been convinced Democrats or committed to trying to make the Republic work. Where the law and its administrators were against it, what chance did it have?
political
What Germany's
entertainer?
courts did in the
I'll take
1920s
it.
with verdicts like this, or what the US Supreme Court has just done with Roe v. Wade, has nothing to do with an impartial judicial
never know
review,
what to label
but
myself
is
when
an
people ask
exercise
what I
of
do.
raw political power. Both countries were, or are, faced with a form of judicial despotism by a Supreme Court immune from democratic accountability. Now, luckily, the United States is in a much better position than Weimar Germany was to tackle this problem. Despite all the talk about polarization and civil war, trying to pack the courts or facing them head-on if necessary bears much less of a risk than it did in Germany. Nobody is gonna go out there and face the bayonets over Clarence Thomas, I reckon.
I'll
But
face
it's
the
also
bayonets
not
for
like there
Thomas.
is much of a choice for Democrats, as the one party still committed to maintaining democratic institutions at least. Because if the Supreme Court is allowed to have the last word on issues like voting and civil rights for the next 2 decades, I have no doubt the United States will end up in a similar position as Germany did in April 1930. This limbo state of not being a dictatorship, but also not being a democracy either. And partially this is already the case. If you look at a state like Wisconsin, that has a higher population than Denmark or Norway, by the way, that state is not a democracy.
It got
There was a
stolen
great
by
piece on this in the Milwaukee Independent that analyzed the results of the 2018 midterm election, where a blue wave swept the country, if you remember. Here's what it says. Wisconsin has 8 congressional seats, all of which were up for the election for the midterms. Going into election day, Democrats controlled 3 of them, and Republicans had the remaining 5. No seat flipped. In total, Wisconsin Democratic congressional candidates received 1.3 million votes. Wisconsin Republican congressional candidates received 1.1 million. And yet, Democrats got 3 out of 8 seats. In mathematical terms, that is 52.7% of the vote, Yet the party took only 37.5% of the...
But you know what? We helped unfuck Wisconsin, guys. That's right. You guys helped to make it so that the electoral maps got redrawn. We got... Oh god, I didn't know they had a grab. What the hell? We got their state Supreme Court leaning left in a statewide election. And you guys did door knocking, we organized. And not only that, we got her elected. And now they have different maps. We got different maps now, folks. And they're much more fair and equitable, so it's not gerrymandered to hell. We restored democracy to an entire state.
Seats. When it comes to the state assembly, quote, every seat was up for grabs on November 6th, and voting disparity becomes even more glaring when reviewing the results. Democratic Assembly candidates took around 1.3 million votes to Republican Assembly candidates with 1.1 million votes. And still Democrats walked away with only 36 seats, while Republicans took a staggering 63. That means Democrats won 54% of the vote, while only earning 36% of the seats. Now, the election in itself might be democratic in the sense that voters are not intimidated by goon squads or whatever, but through gerrymandering, the results turn out undemocratic. And the US Supreme Court is very much in favor of Republicans doing this. The New York Times reported earlier this month that in another 4 states, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and Ohio, maps that judges have previously ruled illegal since they were drawn on racial or partisan lines will be used anyway, because Republicans know that the Supreme Court is on their side most of the time when it comes to changing election procedures close to that election. As the article says, the headline case of this was in Alabama, where a federal judge panel said the state had diluted black voters' power in its election map and ordered them to draw up a new map. The Supreme Court then blocked that order, reinstating the old racist map because it was supposedly too close to the election taking place 4 months later. And I know this is not flashy or exciting and kind of hard to penetrate compared to the dramatics of fascism, but this is how it's going to work in the US. An end to America's democratic institutions will never look like the man in the high castle. That era is over. German interwar democracy went belly up in the time of mass politics. The social conditions today, especially in the US, are completely different.
How you doing?
Now, is US democracy in a worse spot than Germany at any moment between 1918 and 1933?
Definitely not.
Unquestionably, no. It is not even close. The vast majority of Americans, in principle, want the US to be a democracy, even if they might be dissatisfied with its current state. Democracy, for white people at least, has a long tradition in the US, and I don't see the attitude towards the principle of being a representative democracy changing anytime soon. The German public's introduction to democracy was basically, hey, let's try this new thing. By the way, we just signed a peace deal and you can expect a generation of lower living standards. Also, the French are occupying the Ruhr and we're powerless to do anything about it. Also, the money you're getting isn't worth the paper it's printed on anymore. Isn't this going great? The idea that people like Michael Moore or others sell of Weimar Germany is that it was this well-running, flourishing democracy
I hope your day turns
until
around.
Hitler came along and
so trash.
bewitched everyone. When in reality, Weimar had a ton of problems, from the constitution to the economy and public hostility against the idea of a republic. German democracy was faced with an almost impossible task, much harder to solve than the current crisis in the US. You see this even with things like January 6th. Let's say that would have been a full success for Republicans and they declare Trump the American Caesar. What then? You still have more than half the country that is against you, including the most powerful states like California, that would never ever go along with something like that. But I don't want to get too deep into alt history here. The point is, the smarter Republicans understand that something like January 6th will not secure minority rule for them. The heavy lifting has to be done by the states. And with the Supreme Court the way it is, they have a good shot of achieving that goal. There is a case that the US Supreme Court has agreed to hear in its upcoming session starting in October. It's from North Carolina and called Moore v. Harper. The reason why this case is keeping legal scholars up at night right now is because the Supreme Court will decide if state courts have oversight power over election policy set by state legislature. Right now, even if gerrymandering is a huge problem, the state courts have the ability to rule these maps or other practices surrounding voting illegal. If the Supreme Court decides that this is not the case, and 4 justices have signaled support for this, it basically gives the state legislature carte blanche to do whatever they want in regards to elections. Some scholars even suggest this includes the power to reject presidential electors determined by voters and appoint their own slates. It's not hard to imagine a state like Florida or Kentucky or whatever red state doing this, claiming voter fraud or whatever. I am not a legal scholar, but from what I can gather, a decision like this really would have out the remnants of American democracy, deeply flawed as it is, and what comes after, I have no idea. In the context of that case, I want to tell you about a different case called Prussia contra Reich from 1932. And my point here is not that these two cases are at all analogous, but their rulings have the potential to put the US in a similar situation as Germany was at the time. As I said, since 1930, German democracy didn't really exist anymore, but the country was ruled through what's called presidential cabinets. And we don't have to get into how all of this actually worked. Important to know is that the gridlock in parliament left the country to be governed by a cadre around the president, basically. Part of this cadre, serving as chancellor, was a guy called Franz von Papen, who was not a Nazi, but was committed to establishing the Neuer Staat, the new state, as he called it. He wanted to create a sort of authoritarian presidential regime with the long-term goal of bringing back the monarchy. One thing in the way of this was the federal nature of the Weimar system, and above all, the state of Prussia, a state which covered more than half the territory of Germany, had a population bigger.
Can we just take a moment, to acknowledge how ridiculous it is that within democracies there are continually these factions that are like, what if we were just ruled by a guy who had better blood than us? What if we did that instead? I think that's a good idea. I'm cucked enough to believe that. It's really sad and pathetic, you know? I feel bad for these people. Is this is just a year-old video.
Than France.
I wanted to compare Three Arrows' take on America's coming Weimar moment to where we are right now.
And was a social democratic stronghold. It's a long and fascinating story, but important for us is the following. On July 20th, President and decrepit, disgusting sleazebag Paul von Hindenburg, at the request of von Papen, issues an emergency decree deposing the democratically elected state government of Prussia and puts von Papen and the army in charge. Before this happened, the Social Democrats had said that if Prussia is faced with violence by the federal government, they would respond in kind. Shockingly, they did not do that. Arguably, they had no chance anyway, but they also didn't want to spark a civil war. Instead, you might have guessed it, they went the legal route of taking the federal government to court, declaring their coup unconstitutional. That is what Prussia contra Reich was about. And in this case, the court decided that this kinda sorta was unconstitutional, technically, but by the time the decision came down, the goose was cooked, and the court knew this too. I really can't stress enough how important this moment was when talking about the downfall of the Weimar Republic, arguably more so than the fire in the Reichstag that people love to talk about. Here is how, again, Richard Evans sums it up. Parham's coup dealt a
Evans
mortal blow to the
from Red
Weimar
Letter
Republic.
Media.
It destroyed the federal principle and opened the way to the wholesale centralization of the state. Whatever happened now, it was unlikely to be a full restoration of parliamentary democracy. After July 20th, 1932, the only realistic alternatives were a Nazi dictatorship or a conservative authoritarian regime backed by the army. The absence of any serious resistance on part of the Social Democrats, the principal remaining defenders of democracy, was decisive. It convinced both conservatives and National Socialists that the destruction of democratic institutions could be achieved without any serious opposition. The Social Democrats had received plenty of advance warning of the coup, yet they had done nothing. The Nazis were jubilant. "You only have to bare your teeth at the Reds and they knuckle under," wrote the Nazi propaganda chief Joseph Goebbels in his diary for July 20th. The Social Democrats and trade unions, he observed with satisfaction, aren't lifting a finger. The Reds, he noted not long after, have missed their big chance. It's never going to come again. I had to think of this paragraph when seeing the spineless reaction to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And now Democrats are reacting more forceful, but only did so under pressure. The mortal blow to the Weimar Republic. And it wasn't even done by a Nazi, but a conservative, along with people cynically looking out for their own interest. This is where the money is at, folks. Not the Hitlers or Trumps, but the von Parhams and Mitch McConnells. People who have no problem pushing an entire country to the brink of complete dysfunction over their own cynical power plays. All the noise about whether Trump is Hitler or the GOP is fascist or whatever, exciting as it may be, is mostly a distraction in my opinion. It's not the beer hall putsch that ended German democracy, just like it was on January 6th for the US. It's a slow-moving process, one you can absolutely see play out in current US politics. And whether the death blow will be Harper v. Moore or something else, I don't know. But I'm fairly certain that this process will keep going with Trump or without him.
Well,
but that's the thing, you know, we're always looking to history to find examples of our current experiences, all while sometimes forgetting that the current moment is in itself historic. It has its own conditions and nuances. Now, liberals and the left more broadly failed to meet the crucial moment in July 1932. Will it be the same in the US?
Hey, Catalina
Who can
Gearbox.
say? But the fight over the judiciary is certainly at the forefront of it. Biden has been decent in filling vacant seats in the judiciary, but with the direction the Supreme Court is heading in, it needs a much stronger confrontation with the court and the idea of judicial review in general. There's nothing in the Constitution that says the Supreme Court has the final say on anything. My man Ryan Cooper has written a great piece about this in the American Prospect that I will link in the description for you. On the bright side, this is not without precedent. Abraham Lincoln called the Supreme Court the citadel of slavery, and was vocal about how the will of the people should have the final say about the big issues of the day, not the Supreme Court. Same during FDR's presidency that saw the end of the Lochner era, during which the court struck down minimum wage and child labor laws because they interfered with the free market. It is far from impossible to solve this crisis. And let's not forget, conservatives having to fight for decades to utilize the Supreme Court in this way is a sign of weakness, not a sign of strength. They rely on institutions like the Supreme Court or discriminatory electoral maps because their stated goals are so unpopular. We'll see if that makes a difference. Alright, I'd say we end it here for today. Thank you for listening all the way through, and yeah, if you've thought, hey, I really like this stuff about connecting contemporary politics with history, head over to patreon.com/Dan Arrows to unlock the bonus feed. Lots of stuff exclusively for patrons there. We did a show on January 6th where I somehow end up talking about the coup against the Serbian king in 1903. Not sure how that happened. one about France and how its recent history affects its political landscape. Next month I want to do one on Italy, as they are on their way to get a legit post-fascist prime minister down there. That's gonna be fun. Check it out if you like. Other than that, take care, stay safe, and have a good one.
Have a good time. Thanks, Dan Arrows. All
Mr.
right.
Birchum is in.
We're diving into Jose. Yep. So I gotta say, I do think that was somewhat reassuring. I think our situation has somewhat worsened from when Dan Arrows made that video. But I like his rosy assessment of where we were. And I think we should hold on to that as like a good sign of where we might go in the future, you know? Waiting for Biden to make the announcement? Yeah. Any minute now. Maybe tomorrow.
An animated series for divorced men and boys who will grow up to be divorced men. Mr. Birchum is a sort of ultimate divorced guy who has somehow gotten married in spite of not seeming to have done a single thing to improve himself, because it was never his fault to begin with. In the context of the show, his ex-wife is actually a lesbian, so her having left him doesn't mean he's a bad guy, it's just that there is something fundamentally different about her that doesn't let her acknowledge his greatness. This divorced guy energy permeates the entire show. Mr. Birchum is a man whom society has forgotten, but this show, which is a clear example of wish fulfillment, picks a society that is slowly realizing he needs to be venerated because it turns out everyone else was mostly wrong this whole time. The origin of the Birchum character goes all the way back to 1994 when he was created by Adam Carolla on the Kevin and Bean radio show in Los Angeles.
All these horrible shop teachers that were...
You've been workshopping this idea for like 30 years, bud, and that's what you came up with? Mr. Birchum has been this source of comedic inspiration to you for 30 years. And that's what you came... That's the end product. My God. Alright. Adam Carolla, my opinion of you was low before, but like, just cratered through the floor.
Were angry guys with big mustaches and big forearms who loved woodworking and hated kids.
Your mom just made an Instagram
Although the character
account?
is an amalgamation of real
Oh no,
people,
is she thirst
this
trapping
name is meant
boiled
to be
peanuts?
a subtle reference to wood.
Birchum was the name of a guy I played Pop Warner football with, but Birch is the name of a wood. So it makes you think of wood.
The Birchum character became a fixture on the radio show, making jokes and offering surprisingly useful home repair advice.
Alright, yeah, I'm putting some cabinets in my garage, and I'm wondering if you can give me pointers on how I can do that.
You building those yourself?
Yes, I am.
Alright, start with 3/4 paint grade lumber, core birch, good one side. If you want to substitute 5/8 shop grade Luan.
But like... $30 years on this character, and that's what you got. 30 years! I signed up for my first online D&D game? Hell yeah! Oh, what's your main language, Three Geese in a Trench Coat? You communicate very well in chat. I never would have guessed. This B is certainly B. Is it good? I don't know, man. I'm Dutch? Cool. Man, Adam Carolla, it's amazing he's been able to work in this business as long as he has.
I won't tell anyone.
Carolla would partner with Daniel Kellison to create Crank Yankers, which was a series that featured crank phone calls acted out by puppets. The series brought the Birchum character to television.
Yeah, I don't go to the doctor and ask his permission to kick a man's ass.
Okay, cool.
The Birchum character proved to have enough potential that an animated series would eventually be pitched to Fox, and an animatic was created in 2011 as part of that pitch.
What?
According to a TV Guide article from the same year, Carolla was partnering with former King of the Hill executive producers John Altschuler and Dave Krinsky to create the series. Although the network ultimately passed on the show, the pilot was made public when it was posted online sometime later.
Even the dogs are idiots around here.
Got it.
Peanut butter, Mr. Birchum.
These are peanut butter sniffing dogs?
We had to retrain them, but yes.
After the pilot failed, not much else was done with the Mr. Birchum character.
Aren't all dogs peanut butter sniffing dogs? Like, is that not just like all dogs? Like, I don't think you have to try. Is that the joke? Is the joke that, like, the main character, Mr. Birchum, is just so dumb he doesn't know that dogs fucking love peanut butter? Well, no, I get the joke about peanut allergies, but I'm talking about the joke about these are peanut sniffing dogs? Like, I get it. He thought they were drug sniffing dogs, but they're peanut sniffing dogs. All right. I understand the joke about the peanut allergies. I get that. That's fine. What I don't get is the bad joke about needing to, where the punchline is that the dogs sniff out peanut butter. Is the joke on Mr. Birchum? Is the joke on us, the audience, for wasting our lives having seen it? Like, what level is this supposedly operating on? No, the joke about the peanut butter sandwich being in the room is a joke about, like, you know, the peanut allergies in schools. I get that part. You guys keep reiterating that. That's not the question. The question's the part about the drug sniffing dogs / peanut sniffing dogs. The joke is your mom? Okay, nailed it.
Character, but he got an unexpected revival when Adam Carolla started working with the Daily Wire. To back up slightly though, the Birchum Project wasn't their first collaboration. Adam Carolla starred for the Daily Wire in Adam Carolla Truth Yeller. It was a comedy series that was a combination of Carolla doing stand-up and talking to other famous people.
Inconclusive. I think that would probably be... Well, they'll be that way after the show.
Can we just take a moment, like...
Inconclusive. I think that would...
Jay Leno has one of the most improbable faces I've ever seen in my life. You know, like, can we just acknowledge that? Like, dude looks like an IRL cartoon. I don't even know how to, like, explain it better than that. Dog butt sniffing dogs? Exactly. There we go. Nailed it.
Would probably be... Well, they'll be that way after the show.
Right, to be like, was it a good show?
I'm inconclusive.
Inconclusive.
Yeah.
Jay was strong. Carolla just kind of mailed it in.
Yeah.
The series lasted 6 episodes. But if you want some of the merch, the hoodies are 70% off on the Daily Wire shop, which makes me think this series isn't likely to return. Also, don't give these guys any money. The Mr. Birchum animated series is part of the Daily Wire's push to create movies and TV shows to compete with mainstream streaming services like Netflix and Disney+. So far, the results have not really caught much mainstream attention. If you want to learn more, I've done a bunch of videos on that. Although the Daily Wire has recently tried its hand at animation with the kids series Chip Chilla, this is its first attempt at an animated series targeting an adult audience. Mr. Birchum is the story of a cranky shop teacher as he tries to navigate a modern world he doesn't understand.
Same rules apply. First one of us to get insulted by one of these punks wins the...
You suck, Mr. Birchum!
Ah, still got it.
His wife Wendy is a liberal real estate agent.
Wait till you see what I did to the basement.
This is why I'm going to drink barrels
bottles of wine during your teenage years.
His son Eddie is a professional streamer.
Is that chair vibrating?
Take care of your body and it'll take care of you.
And his stepdaughter Jeannie.
Oh yeah, man, that's my life. That's my life in a nutshell right there. I still got loads of time. I'm gonna go plug this. No, I'm not. I will forget it and not hear the alarm in the other room. Vibrating Jack when? I don't feel like I can legally do that on Twitch. I'd have to use a different website.
He is an avid devotee of her stepfather's
I know at least a couple
philosophy.
of you would be excited to get on.
Doesn't know the difference between a coping saw and a banjo saw.
The casting for the series is an interesting mix of friends of Adam Carolla and friends of the Daily Wire. Carolla described the process of recruiting some of his friends to pick up some of these roles.
People I've worked with over the years and socialized with over the years and became friends with over the years and thought, you know,
like this is less
this
ethical,
guy would be
less
good
ethical.
for this role and that guy would be
I don't
great
know.
for that
I feel like I'm
role.
providing enough
Thanks to
commentary
Carolla's
here.
connections, the cast is a lot more star power than the usual Daily Wire production, with performances by Patrick Warburton, Rob Riggle, and
Let's
Jane
not
Moore.
forget that
Alonzo
Adam
Budden
made
was a
this.
particularly interesting addition as Mr. Birchum's
Wait,
best.
what did Adam Carolla make?
It's a place where people come together. Look at the hands on this chicken header. Jockey girls on trampolines, time to loosen those blue jeans.
Oh, this is gross. Oh, I don't like this. Man, you know, sometimes comedy ages like milk, and other times it ages like, I don't know, something mummified in a long-forgotten king's tomb for a couple thousand years. Gross.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people.
It's true.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
And you know what? Not only do you exist in the context of all in which you live and all that came before you, so does Adam Carolla. And unfortunately, he doesn't really seem to understand the context in which he lives, nor all that came before him. Because if he did, he would realize that his comedy is aged incredibly poorly, and he should probably either get with the times or, you know, retire, man. What do we have to do for those coconuts? Boy, what don't you have to do?
Friend Gage, considering Bowden seems to be on the left with his many appearances on The Young Turks. Based on one of his comments at the red carpet premiere, I suspect he hasn't completely bought into some kind of right-wing worldview, as he at least seems capable of understanding that comedy still very much exists and doesn't need to be saved by conservative media.
There have always been comedians on TV. There's always been people upset because this comedian said that comedian said that. Comedy's been here. So, yeah, so I don't buy into comedies. Comedy's not back because it never left.
Also surprising was the appearance of Danny Trejo. Although he's never been particularly picky about the roles he's taken on, it did still, personally, kind of disappoint me to see him in this. The Daily Wire's casting choices reflect some of the usual performers they tap for their roles in their work.
Can we, like, take a moment? Because, like, Brett Cooper... Is Brett Cooper an actress? Like, genuine question. Like, did she go to acting school? Or is this just a case of, like, they got anyone? Regardless of, like, what their background was. How did they not get Jimmy Dore? Because they looked at him and they went, oh man, it's Jimmy Snore. And then they fell asleep. Also, it would not surprise me at all if Jimmy Dore went to like a streaming site like the Daily Wire. Or got, you know, I don't think, actually no. It would have to be something a bit more ambiguous. Because like most people identify the Daily Wire with like right-wing propaganda, right? Because that's what it is. Maybe they would hire him as like a beard, you know? Brett is a character? Interesting. But like they keep casting her like she's I'm pretty sure she's starring in like their Sleeping Beauty movie that they're making. I think she's also in like their fantasy like mini series that they're making based on those Pendragon books. Like, did she do acting before she got on the Daily Wire? Like, I guess what I'm asking is, was she a failed actor like Michael Knowles is a failed actor? You know? Can we get Ben Shapiro to do Cinderella instead? Probably not, but that would be very funny. Danny Trejo and Patrick Warburton mentioned. What did they do? Oh, they're in this Mr. Birchum series as, like, bit characters to collect the paycheck, is my understanding. You know, like, Danny Trejo's an actor's actor, okay? He shows up, he does his job, he goes home to his kids. Oh, Daddy. She's just an actor because if she actually cared even a little about any of the stuff she claims to, she'd know how absolutely stupid she sounds.
Brett Cooper was cast as Jeannie, Tyler Fisher as Birchum's nemesis, Mr. Carponzi, and Candace Owens as Wendy's friend, Dina. That last casting choice wouldn't stick, though, as Candace Owens would leave the Daily Wire a few months after.
Wait, did they have to write Dina out of the show? Oh man, they cast her as the best friend too. That's a harder role to recast. Oh, she was in the Heathers TV show. Let's see. She's in the, like, what's the first actual thing she's in? She's in 4 episodes of Shots Fired. A movie called Bobby and Gil? What is this? The meteorological problem phenomenon. Jesus, I cannot read today. Holy moly. All right. Thanks for supporting me, even though I'm apparently illiterate.
What do you do when your parents tell you not to look in their closet?
Not look in their closet.
Right. But I mean a normal kid.
I'm sure I don't know.
They look in the closet.
Oh God, it's tiny Brett Cooper.
She's your daughter.
Make good decisions and choose who you want to be with care.
Can I just say, I'm getting real Stranger Danger vibes off this guy.
Care.
Today, I will be pairing you up for your history final.
Like peas in a pod, we're even and odd. I say stop when you say go. I go
You get picked on it every day.
I know, it's kind of amazing. Probably set some kind of record.
It's like you're an alien from another planet.
I guess one might say that I have a very nuanced personality.
In the end, this friendship is sailing.
I'm sorry, is this just a movie about Brett Cooper befriending an autistic boy? Are we serious? That's the premise? Oh no!
With the friendly winds prevailing.
What a weird little dude. A weird little dude.
So anxious to be the wise men who see through the fog of quid pro quo. It seems to me.
What is up with you two anyway? We're friends. Bobby. We're friends. This is a bar. We're 14.
Come on. Don't be such a prude.
Jesus.
What is it, the 1950s? I just feel like I'm outgrowing her. Her and all the rest of the world.
Well, the world really can't get outgrown, only overgrown. That's how people and things get forgotten.
What? Also, man, this hair. Man, this hair.
You know you're nothing but heart.
My mother said that most people are like that. They're very delicate and you must be very careful because they're only dangerous when broken.
What?
I don't understand why people have to be so mean. I don't understand why people have to be cruel. People suck.
It's really ironic hearing Brett Cooper say those words. Like, her entire career after this point wound up being, how can I maximize meanness and cruelty in the world? I know. I'll work for the meanest and cruelest propaganda outfit out there.
I am sad. I'm sad that you don't have a mom. It's not fair that you have to brave it alone.
Why did you bring her to my house?
She's my friend.
It feels like I've been tossed aside for this freak!
Is this for you as well?
This is actually for a friend.
Man, I really love how in this 3 minutes and 48 seconds we're seeing the entire movie. You know, none of us need to go see it now because this is just the trailer for the film. I mean, this is just the full film in the trailer.
Whoever farmed this left a long time ago. I have come down here.
Are you gonna cry, weirdo?
To leave my promise.
Gonna feel some emotions over there.
What are you doing out here walking all alone? Do you need a ride?
Oh God. Wait, does he have a crystal figurine addiction? That was a lot of crystal figurines. Okay. We've now watched almost all of this trailer, and I have yet to have any inkling whatsoever about what the other meteorological phenomena are. What does that mean? The trailer told us so much, and yet so little in this one regard.
So here we have a sandwich. Now if I were to do this, no one would consider that a sandwich. Why, it's no more than a heap of fixins. And I think that's what you're really looking for.
A heap of... what? What the hell was that? Alright, we're not watching this. I don't know what this is. Alright. I just that was very unexpected. You know, I tried to Google her character from the show Heathers, but when I Google Trailer Parker, all it brings up is Parker Trailer, which is apparently a movie with Jason Statham and Jennifer Lopez from 2013. All right. To be fair, were any of us going to see it? Absolutely not.
Mr. Birchum was announced when she made some comments critical of Israel. Sage Steele, a former ESPN anchor, replaced Owens on the show. The Daily Wire also edited Candace Owens out of the original trailer, though thankfully I saved that original trailer so we can see the before and after of these two performances.
Oh, hell yeah.
Don't do anything stupid, other than last year. Don't do anything dumber than last year.
The character Dina only appears in one episode though, so the impact on the show was pretty minimal. A series doesn't have to be defined by the drama behind the scenes though, and coming in at a brief 6 episodes, Mr. Birchum was given the chance to put its best foot forward. The central conflict of Mr. Birchum is one man's struggle to deal with a changing world. It's a common theme in sitcoms going back decades, from All in the Family to King of the Hill. The premise of shows like these is that the main character is angry at the world for leaving them behind. The reason this idea has persisted over the decades is because it consistently feels relevant. Society can change very quickly, and has been for the last century or so, and feeling left behind, or knowing someone who feels that way, is very relatable. So it makes perfect sense for a sitcom to present that sort of conflict. Usually this alienation the main character feels is personified by a supporting character connected to modern society. The clashes between these two characters is used to show the differences between the two generations. In All in the Family, it was Archie's son-in-law, Michael. In King of the Hill, it was Hank's son, Bobby. And in Mr. Birchum, it's his son, Eddie. Or at least, it should be. That is, if it was following the pattern of previous shows. But it's here where the...
Oh shit! Is Mr. Birchum low-key? Like, low-key about to subvert expectations?
Series runs into problems. Birchum doesn't really interact with his son in very many meaningful ways. In the 6 episodes of the series, the only plotline they appear in together is in episode 5, Oh, the Humanity, when the family works together on a Homes for Humanity project. But instead of focusing on the Birchum-Eddie relationship, the plotline also involves Wendy and Jeannie, so there isn't much space for father and son to do much interacting. And when they do interact, we don't really see much conflict between them, as Birchum is very pleased to see his son impressing the girls at the job site.
Can't be. He's sweating. So he was listening when I taught him how to handle a high-point saw in preschool.
Aside from that, we only see a few exchanges between the two, where Birchum expresses his disappointment with his son, and Eddie tries to explain his modern guy ways.
It is an invite-only gaming marathon.
I bet the dead Greek bastard who ran the first real marathon would love this.
Sometimes Mr. Birchum will realize the wisdom in Eddie's words towards the end of an episode, but he never really interacts with his son, and he never has to dwell on the fact that he may have gotten things wrong this time. It's just a very minor correction, and then the episode moves on.
How could he be wrong?
The real generation conflict
He's
happens more
Mr.
frequently
Birchum.
between Birchum and Carponzi, the school Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Officer. The acronym spells Jedi because I guess Star Wars is woke or something.
My pronouns are he, him, and Z. I'm a heteronormative, cisgendered white male. For which I apologize.
Carponzi is very clearly meant to be...
As all heterosexual, straight, cis white men should. Look, okay? You all should be ashamed of yourselves.
a bad guy in the series. In fact, Adam Carolla describes him like this.
And it's a sort of amalgamation of society. Like, you don't really represent one person I know. You represent every bad
Every
idea.
annoying
every
ideology.
super annoying ideology. And
why?
Sometimes rightfully criticizes modern society while being wrong on occasion, and All in the Family has Archie firmly in the wrong. Mr. Birchum goes in the other direction to show it's his old-fashioned views of the world that are largely in the right. This doesn't mean that he's never wrong on the show, though. There are occasional moments where we see Birchum may not be entirely correct when looking through his rose-tinted visions of the past.
When we were kids, we knew how to man up.
War Ball for the next 30 minutes!
Oh, no.
What are the rules of War Ball?
There are no rules in War Ball.
But these moments are not that frequent, and we are more frequently treated to numerous rants that leave supportive characters happy and opposing characters reprimanded.
You don't know that the point of hard work is that it's hard and it's work. You want everything to be easy and comfortable, which is why the Chinese are eating our lunch. Come on, Janie.
What? Yeah, the Chinese don't want things to be easy. What?
I'm about to lose it!
About to? Epic rant, Birchum.
Episodes often lead up to Birchum delivering an impassioned speech, the other characters literally cheering him on.
I'm teaching kids how to build things while I'm building their character. That's what America is all about. They're either selling tools to rich kids who don't know how to use them, or poor people who'll have to replace them every 2 weeks. What about the rest of us? He tried to get my friend Don to play the race card to throw me under Rosa Parks' bus.
What?
If this were an action series, Birchum would be the type of character who gets punched in the face once in a while, and then responds by beating his opponents into powder. This is a series with a very specific point of view, that the old way society worked is far superior to modern society. That's not to say that having a perspective is a bad thing. A show doesn't need to be balanced for the sake of being balanced. Where Mr. Birchum stumbles as a series is in the execution. Birchum standing triumphant at the end of each episode with everyone cheering him on really makes this whole show feel like wish fulfillment. This is Adam Carolla's pet character talking down to all the things he hates in modern society. It's a reverse caricature often presented of supposedly woke Hollywood, though it ironically lacks the nuance or skill you would more likely see on more traditionally produced works. And it speaks to how amateurish this whole series feels. We don't even have to leave the world of Mr. Birchum to make that point. We can contrast the Daily Wire series to the original animatic produced in 2011 to show how genuine skill and talent can present this out-of-touch shop teacher as someone sympathetic. In the brief episode we find in the animatic, running just over 9 minutes, we see Birchum going through a number of very similar struggles, but in the final moments, the victory he's able to achieve is a lot simpler, where he sneaks away to enjoy a chocolate bar. A small moment of peace in a world he doesn't understand anymore. It presents the figure as tragic, and ironically, it makes you want to root for him more. It's sad that...
Oh, correction. It's not a chocolate bar, that is a payday. There is no chocolate in a payday bar. That's a cinema sin.
Society has left this guy behind, and it's easy to have sympathy for him. It's the sort of guy you would be happy to see proven right in a future episode. This is in stark contrast to the Mr. Birchum series on the Daily Wire, where people are literally cheering for him by the end of the episode.
Canceled.
In fact, if we go to the very first episode, when we are introduced to the Mr. Birchum character, he's presented as the hated shop teacher.
Suck, Mr. Birchum!
But by the end of the episode, when a tribunal is held to see if Mr. Birchum will be able to keep his job, many of the students stand up to protect him.
He also taught me how to use a totally sick orbital sander, and I'm actually starting to like woodworking.
Thank you.
Señor Birchum es un buen maestro. Me ha enseñado muchas cosas. Me gustaría que saliera con mi madre.
And as I showed a few moments ago, when he delivers his impassioned speech, everyone is cheering for him. He's not the same loser from the animatic, and if anything, he's a beloved truth-teller now, winning people over with his righteous speech.
That's
it's
because
like
he's
a
just so
conservative
correct
caricature
all
of
the
the
time.
West Wing. It's harder to build sympathy for a man claiming that society has left him behind when he routinely humbles said society and convinces everybody else that he's right. And going back to Carponzi, by making him the main foil instead of Eddie, we don't have the same emphasis of shows like these where the out-of-touch old guy is trying to learn how to live with his more modern family members. There's no presumption of love that demands these people learn how to live together. Rather, Carponzi is an enemy that needs to be defeated, and usually is.
Have you
As I
seen
said
him?
earlier,
Of
this whole
course he
series
needs to
feels
be
like
defeated.
wish fulfillment. Enemies get vanquished, our heroes proven right, and then everyone claps. To look a little longer at the older Birchum stuff, in his earlier appearance, there's an even starker contrast to what we find in the Daily Wire series. After having listened to dozens of his appearances on radio programs and on crank anchors, the older Birchum comes off as way less sympathetic. He's more obnoxious and often outright creepy, like when he propositions a woman on the other end of a crank phone call.
I hope you please forget my phone number, please.
Your back door? Your back door, gal? No babies in the back door, I'll tell you that. God knows I've tried.
I'm gonna report you to the police, you disgusting
Hey!
Early Birchum's life is a complete mess.
Yeah, that's you're just sexually harassing someone. Wait, that was on television? Wait, that was on television. Like, a producer was like, "Yeah, you got the green light to do this." That's just sexual harassment. That's just a crime. Whoa. Oh my god. I did not know Adam Carolla made that kind of content. Not gonna lie. Wow, that's gross. Wowee. It's funny because it's just a prank. I don't think it's just a prank, though. God, alright.
He's dealing with PTSD after serving in Vietnam and complaining about his missing prosthetic leg and his fat wife. He's still a tragic figure, but in a far meaner sort of way. The audience is not expected to have any sympathy for this version of the character.
Along with Jimmy Kimmel,
He's just
that
this
explains a lot.
nasty old man being cruel to everyone around him, a product of his own misery. And we're meant to laugh at how absurd and ridiculous he is as a figure. He's the sort of character that was probably way too unlikable to be the lead of a series, which is probably why when they created that animatic, they really softened him, so that he wasn't just a completely irredeemable, obnoxious crank, but rather a sort of sullen, rough-edged, but ultimately likable guy. The Daily Wire series takes it way too far, and suddenly we have a bitter old guy who's been transformed into a folk hero. It's almost as if, having gotten older, Carolla has become the character that was once a caricature, and bitter alienation has transformed into self-righteous arrogance.
Like, that's what was always striking me about the Mr. Birchum character. It just seems like it's what Adam Carolla, like, like, it's a self-insert, you know? Like, that's just what he thinks. Wild.
Another problem with Mr. Birchum is when it comes close to making a good critique of modern society, it gets muddled in conflicting talking points and a general discomfort with even seeing remotely anti-American. For example, in the third episode, This Means Warranty, Birchum needs to replace one of his tools and is frustrated to find out modern tool stores have been taken over by the tech industry.
When there's no stud, you'll hear this whistle. When it hits a stud, you'll hear this bell.
So you're saying this gadget literally has too many bells and whistles?
This is some decent satire, mocking the model of tech industry disruption where an industry is given lots of trendy changes that no consumers are really asking for, all in an effort to create the next big tech sensation. Where this goes astray, though, is a revelation late in the episode that this is all a plot by the Chinese.
The company that bought and dismantled Spears also owns Cargo Freight and U-Tool. It's a Chinese company. Peking Commercial Consolidation, PCC.
Instead of what could have been about the boundless greed driving Silicon Valley to promote
Well, see, this is very similar to what we've been talking about lately, about how conservatives will agree on a problem. Like, they'll agree, you know, oh man, people are really under tough economic times. You know, they'll agree on that. But then their solution is to give the rich tax cuts. So, like, it's not a solution or really an accurate diagnosis of the problem. You know, like, instead, it's, you're right, you are experiencing a problem. And it's all because of, you know, immigrants, the Chinese, trans people, etc., you know? And then they're like, in order to fix this, we need to do the largest mass deportation in history. And, like, that's what they're operating on. But, like, none of those are accurate, so it's not going to fix the problem, and it's just going to be needlessly cruel. So, like, I find it so interesting that it is also reflected in the way their comedy works. You know, like, they can't make a good point because their ideology precludes them from making that point. They can't make good comedy because their ideology needs them out of necessity to make a bad point.
Unwanted innovations, it becomes a weird conspiracy that China is responsible for selling people products
Tax
they
rich
don't
people to
want
where they're
or
almost
need
homeless.
so they can spy on
Yeah,
everyone.
you got, yep, 100%.
These tools are for fools. We can collect more data on the American middle class than ever before. Ha 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 ha. Good job, son.
Thank you, Father.
While I certainly don't trust the Chinese government, it does seem like a strange twist in what at first appeared to be a decent critique of modern American
show isn't
culture
funny.
and the desperate
Well,
hunt
it's
for
not
profit
funny to
happening in the
us,
tech
you know,
industry
like,
right now. Another
we're not the
example is in
intended
the
audience,
second
though.
episode, Thank You for Your Meal Service, where we see Wendy and Dina go for a spa day together and discover that they have different political philosophies.
She assumed just because I'm black that I'd vote for a tax-raising elitist because he happens to be half black, and she only voted for him because she thinks he's hot.
I'm not sure how you don't figure this out in a friend you've known for at least 12 years. As the two bicker back and forth, one side arguing for the left, another one arguing for the right, they're interrupted by the Vietnamese masseuses who tell them that they should be grateful that they live in America. It doesn't resolve any of their differences at all, but it does make the very boring point that America is a great country, because this show can't have America being understood as anything other than great.
You're so busy arguing, you forget you're Americans, and it's already so great here.
You know, also, conservatives can never make up their minds. Is America on the verge of death and destruction? Or is America great? You know, like, which is it? Make up your minds. I can only take so much suspense. Oh, God.
Mệt với mấy người Mỹ này quá. Rất là ngu.
Another failing of the series is its very weak plotting. Going back to the episode about tools, the Chinese company that's a thin cutout for the Chinese government is revealed in the final 5 minutes of the episode, and is only barely foreshadowed by a throwaway joke early on about Birchum not liking tools from China.
All their tools are made in the People's Republic of China. I'm not going to spend my hard-earned American dollars so they can build stronger suicide nets around their factories.
But getting down to more specific plot points, we see things start to make even less sense in the 6th episode of the series, the gym rope incident. The premise for this one is that the climbing rope has been removed for the school phys ed class. Birchum and Gage are so outraged that they sneak in at night to hang up a new rope. In the morning, what's instead discovered by students is a noose. Carponzi is quick to assume racism, and the episode wants to mock how silly that leap in logic is.
As with all things, racism is the only possible explanation.
I'm somewhat sympathetic to the idea that some additional context might be needed to call this racism. Perhaps if there was a plot point about a new black student joining a sports team or something. But even without that, a noose has a pretty long history as a racist symbol. So the assumption that it might be some form of intimidation isn't the most ridiculous thing in the world.
It's actually quite
and even
reasonable.
If this noose wasn't racist, it's still really alarming to see something like that suddenly appear in the school gym, and it makes perfect sense for people to freak out. For example, if a student or teacher was planning to use that noose on themselves or someone else, the school should be on high alert. Instead of sitting with this mystery, though, it immediately gets solved in one of the least believable plot twists I've ever seen.
Damn it.
For those who aren't sure what's happening here, the absent-minded janitor moved the rope out of his way, and it somehow twisted itself in midair to become a noose.
Yeah, y'all know
the whole point of this
how
moment
you
was to
accidentally
reveal how
tie nooses
Carponzi,
when you're
and by
cleaning.
extension modern society, can be way too quick to label something as racist. Why did the real explanation have to be something far less believable? What are the odds of something like this ever happening in real life? Well, it's easy to overlook weird plot devices Like no one thinking to ask the janitor where the noose came from, or any of the other questions that could be teased out of this hastily written story. It's this one in particular that's so glaring it's hard to ignore. It really creates the impression that these scripts were not carefully put together and probably could have used a few more drafts to iron out some of the rough parts.
Yeah, just a
One
couple.
thing you probably noticed in all of these clips,
Or, you know, like a producer capable of saying, maybe we shouldn't. You know, like it doesn't have to be like that they rewrite the bits, because the bits are kind of bad. Like, I don't think any amount of rewriting the black janitor as accidentally tying a noose while cleaning, I don't think any amount of rewrites are actually going to fix that. You know, like, you need a producer to step in and say, hey, maybe not this time. You know, Mr. Carolla, maybe we can just not. Have you considered just not? Because I think maybe we should consider not. Hey, Vi Sophia. If I had $1 for every time I accidentally tied a noose, I'd have $0. Yeah. Honestly, anyone who answers anything other than 0 is immediately suspect. Someone told him to consider not, but instead he heard consider not. Boo! But also, well played. I appreciate the wordplay game, sir. Sir, is there like a non-binary equivalent of like sir, but that is non-gendered, you know? Because like there's also not really like a lady version. Like I feel like sir is just lady. But isn't mix like the Mr. equivalent? Sir? Sir is the gender neutral? That's cool. Hello, sir. The equivalent of sir or dame? Yeah. I guess Saer. Yeah, S-A-E-R. None of my subs nor I have been able to find one that feels right. One of them just goes with yes, chef, to annoy me. I mean, that's pretty good. I like that one. Now, sire still has a gendered context. I like Saer. Saer. Although it kind of just sounds like sir with like a little bit of extra, you know, flamboyance. Yes, chef made me giggle. Hey, yo, witchy woman. Just say bruh. I really like captain. My girlfriend just calls me minion. Excellent. I mean, BBBBB is actually an incredibly good chef. So I mean, I feel like a thank you chef would not be amiss. I prefer Your Highness. Ooh, that's a good one.
clips is how the animation is not particularly impressive. This becomes especially noticeable in the Family Guy-esque cutaway gags.
What color is milk? Ricardo? Ricardo Birchum.
You can see very clearly how the frame rate drops for these gags. In animation production, footage is presented at a rate of 24 frames per second. That is, figures are shown on screen 24 times to create 1 second of animation. In more lavish productions, they will draw a unique figure for every single one of those 24 frames. This is called a drawing on ones. Since this is obviously a lot of drawing, some studios will reuse drawings. So instead of drawing 24 unique frames of animation per second, they might instead draw every other frame, instead opting to use each drawing twice, creating a total of 12 frames per second. This is called drawing on twos. It's not quite as smooth and fluid, but obviously saves a lot of time and money. To save even more time and money, animators can draw every third frame, meaning they draw 8 frames per second. This is called drawing on 3s. Mr. Birchum, I suspect, is sometimes drawing on 4s. That is, there are 6 frames of animation per second, making this animation look like it's coming over the internet on a connection from 1996. It's the sort of thing most major animation studios would never tolerate, and it reflects what is almost certainly the small budget that went into creating the series. The studio behind Mr. Birchum is Wise Blue Studios, based in Valencia, Spain. Looking at their website and their work in their portfolio, the studio seems capable of producing better things, so this is almost certainly an issue of time and money being spent on the series. Another tell of the show's low budget is the sloppy audio design, like the cheesy guitar riffs sometimes used to punch home especially weak jokes.
We're selling a dream of perfection, like fashion models who never gain weight, or Android phones that never crash.
Or the Green New Deal.
The voice work in the series doesn't do much to elevate it either. Although most of the performers do a decent enough job, there are a couple of lowlights, including Roseanne's tired performance as the principal.
Wait, Cream Bum Mommy, fun fact, the studio thinks the series is trash? Tell me more. How do we know that? Hey, Periwinkle. Yes, we're all coconut pilled here. Coconut pilled to the extreme. Not helpful to be here. Okay. Super interesting.
And Megyn Kelly as Wendy, revealing that she has, in fact, never acted before.
I didn't know you were a coastie.
I also got a tramp stamp of a bald eagle that goes all the way down here. Look.
No!
It's not my listing, but Rick has a mansion he's been trying to move. A few weeks ago, a rapper wanted to shoot there.
A video?
His manager got really ugly, so it's been sitting on the market for a while.
Another thing I noticed in this series is how old it felt. Not just its format, but the jokes themselves make so many dated references. Like a joke about Britney Spears being crazy or Wendy swooning over Barack Obama. I imagine the references aren't lost on viewers, but it makes the series...
Why in the year we're in would you write about Obama being sexy? Like, what part of you, like, convinces you that that's a good idea? You know, like, again, it sounds, by all accounts, like this series desperately needed someone to just say, no. Which I guess you weren't really going to get from a Daily Wire video, but still.
feel old, making it feel even older are some of the recycled jokes.
You got an entire creative
one of the plot
team
points
there.
from the first episode, where Birchum gives the kids donkey points and then forces them to work on his home project to work off the demerits, was taken from a joke he was making back in 1994.
All starter members of the Donkey Squad, by
He's recycling like 40-year-old bits? Chet, he's recycling comedy that's older than like most of you have been alive.
the way.
What's the Donkey Squad?
Well, you know, the Trouble Kit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had him over the house for the long weekend working off some of those minus points.
As you might expect from a show funded by a conservative media outlet, the show doesn't take kindly to left-wing politics, though its jokes mocking the left often fall flat.
That's because you lefties don't know what's funny. You call some lesbian talking about cancer a stand-up
True,
special,
Sam and Moose.
and you think NPR
How can we all
is
have
LOL?
died at the same time?
NPR's whole vibe has never been funny. NPR is the network you tune into when you want vaguely left-wing ASMR voices to lull you to sleep, and you've already watched all the videos on my channel.
You know, kids aren't allowed to ride scooters on campus, son.
I'm well aware of the rules. I work here.
When we see Carponzi driving his little scooter, his license plate is a joke about the LGBT plus community's acronym being too long, something that's been played out for decades within those spaces and outside of them. These tired jabs at the left aren't very funny and often don't make sense.
They're just
In a red carpet
old.
interview with one of the writers for the series, he pointed out his favorite joke during the premiere.
I think the joke about, Carponzi saying we have zero tolerance for mentioning intolerance, I think is perfect.
With a sense of humor like that, I guess it's not surprising that the show turned out the way it did.
Absolutely devastating, guys. Absolutely devastating. Like, how do you become a head writer of anything when that's what you're most proud of? You know? I just... Huh. Like, it's not profound. It doesn't really say anything. It's just kind of restating the paradox of tolerance over again. But, like, from the point of view of not understanding the paradox of tolerance. You know? Like, it doesn't... How can you look at that and call it clever, I guess? Like, that's my question. Like, I know I'm not a stand-up comedian, as many of you have pointed out. I'm a sit-down chuckle artist, okay? But, like, even I'm, like, you can do a little bit better. You could do a little bit better. It's just bigoted Amy Schumer. Hey, I'm not bigoted Amy Schumer. I'm just slightly
the white
less
name
rich.
genocide must begin at home.
Jesus Christ. Why? That last Y wasn't actually written down. I counted. That was actually just text-to-speech cursing its fate. Asking you, the listener, why. Why must it be cursed in this way? To continue speaking, yet having nothing of substance. I thought Amy Schumer was bigoted Amy Schumer. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm non-bigoted Amy Schumer. Ever think of that, guys? There we go. Omega Star, don't use that. Don't use that word. That's that's actually a slur. Yeah. What video is this? Failure of Mr. Birchum. Which, by the way, y'all go, what? Yeah, it's a slur for Romani people, and it, unfortunately, people, in America don't know that. Because we just have used it in media and have no, like, generally no negative perception of Romani people here, or it's relatively slight, I guess, compared to European. But, yeah. We've just kind of incorporated it as a casual racism into our society. Hey, Carly. It's okay. You don't gotta be sorry. Now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Do not ask a Romanian what he thinks of the Romani. True. Oh, anyway, please go click on the link that I posted in chat. Give Jose your views. And also, give the video your likes.
In the fourth episode, 127 hours or so, a trapped Birchum has a nightmare where the tools he uses to teach the kids are upset that he lets the children misuse them. They sing a painful music number that includes this moment.
People know that tool lives matter.
In the context of this show, the tools are righteously criticizing Birchum.
Oh boy, there was a lot going on in like the 2 seconds of clips that just got shown on screen. So, Tool Lives Matter, I feel like is not great. Both because I feel like if you wanted to make the actual comparison, it would be like Wrench Lives Matter. But also, like... So, like, essentially, in the context of this, you're doing all lives matter, but with tools. So you'd need to be more specific, like a wrench or a screwdriver, you know, lives matter, something like that, if you really wanted to go there. But also, like... Did anyone catch the imagery? The marching hammer imagery in the background? Any of you catch that Pink Floyd reference? Is Mr. Birchum supposed to be, like, libertarian in its bent? Because so far I've seen nothing really that would indicate that, and that's the only way I can really think you would use that imagery if you understood it. You know? As a Pink Floyd fan, I'm immediately upset. Yeah. I've seen The Wall, yes, exactly. Well-known conservative band, Pink Floyd. It's just that, like, if you're, like, the libertarian flavor of conservatism, I can see, like, you reading, like, the Pink Floyd as, like, you know, oh, man, this is critiquing authoritarianism and nothing else, you know? And so in that way, like, appreciating the marching hammer imagery, but, like... I don't get that vibe that that's what that's what this show is, you know? The Hammerites, famously not a Nazi reference, true.
For not being able to teach the kids how to use them properly. But aside from touching on a topical political story from 4 years ago, what is being communicated by this joke? Especially since the left is typically presented as the losing side in this series. Are the tools diluted the way BLM is often presented by the right? Or are they co-opting the phrase for their more righteous struggle? I'm not sure there's anything going on here aside from some...
I mean, I think we can kind of tell from, like, the faces that got drawn onto the tools, right? Like, the tools are clearly supposed to not be part of a righteous struggle. They look like they're evil. I think this is just a racism. I gotta be honest with you guys. I think that's the depth of the joke.
I'm thinking that the phrase "Tool Lives Matter" was funny, which it isn't. I imagine there might be people on the right who are thinking this is just another left person who's been completely triggered by the right trying to be funny. But I'm honestly not bothered. I'm more confused. Why is this meant to be funny? Why is this supposed to bother us? It's just strange. I have to mention one of the weakest jokes in the series, and that's the boy named Beef. The running gag with this guy is that he constantly shouts out his nickname, Beef.
Beef! Beef!
Beef.
Beef!
Beef.
Beef!
In addition to having a deeply unfunny comedy voice, this gag wears out its welcome after the first time you hear it. It's like they wanted to add a running gag that could successfully deflate any sort of comedy in any scene. Speaking of running gags, I even have to take a break from mine because I don't even want to pretend I participated in this thing.
Jose, I think it's great that you kept your negative thoughts to yourself.
This is a counterfeit Jose, not the real deal. Don't believe anything he says. There might be some of you out there, possibly, trying to defend Mr. Birchum right now who genuinely think it's funny and would...
Who would do that? Who watches Mr. Birchum unironically? I want to know. Who are these people? I need names? No, I don't need addresses and phone numbers. But, like, genuinely, where's this audience? The only audience I've seen that has enjoyed Mr. Birchum has been gays who, like, make the gay art about it. Oh god. Daily Wire boomers, I gotta be real with you guys. I don't think even Daily Wire boomers watch this shit. Like, this is not for Daily Wire boomers. The boomers aren't watching this animated comedy, okay? Like, this is for the Daily Wire Gen Xers at best. But, like, if you're a conservative person, I would love to hear what you appreciate and enjoy about Mr. Birchum. Like, genuinely. Just Timmy from South Park? Yeah. Hey, Sticky Cat. Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes fans, maybe? True. True. Okay. Gotta start doing makeup. Round of moisturizer. Give it 5 minutes to set in. And then I begin. It will shortly become a makeup stream, just as a heads up. Feel like it's just for Adam Carolla's gratification. Don't say it like that. That makes it sound like Adam Carolla is furiously masturbating in an office somewhere, when we all know he's masturbating in his mind. The only place where he can get any anymore.
Would like to know what I, some random YouTube guy, think is funnier than this particular program. So here's a random sample of funny.
How are you supposed to be a strong, thrilling, powerful warrior and lover with a name like this? It is like a weak ejaculation.
Okay.
Jeff.
Okay.
The reaction to Mr. Birchum has not been particularly encouraging. There was one review that came from a channel called Pop Culture Crisis, though I want to highlight. For those who don't know this channel, it was started by Tim Pool, which is why the
Oh, this is Tenet Media, isn't it? I bet this is under the Tenet Media umbrella. This looks like one of the ladies he has on his podcast.
host got an invite to this premiere, and they reported something interesting about the audience's reactions.
There were plenty of times where Mr. Birchum was the butt of the joke, and you were supposed to laugh at how irrational and curmudgeonly he is at times. Yet that wasn't what I noticed Drew laughs. I noticed what Drew laughs is making fun of Carponzi, making fun of his gamer son, and like all of these other characters.
The premiere event for Mr. Birchum was stacked with people from the Daily Wire and other right-wing media figures, so it shouldn't be surprising that the few times the clearly conservative Mr. Birchum was made to look foolish didn't really get a laugh. This wasn't created for an audience ready to laugh at themselves. And maybe that's why they shied away from making Birchum seem in any way tragic or sympathetic. They primarily see this series as a vehicle for conservative wish fulfillment. Although the Pop Culture Crisis hosts were kind to the show, other reviewers, like Lauren Chen, couldn't bring themselves to pretend this series was good.
I also don't want to, I mean, frankly...
No, they even lost Lauren Chen? Like... Guys... She's one of the standard bearers for, like, anti-trans messaging. Like, she more than anyone should be on board with this. Like, it's got the jokes at the expense of the LGBTQs. That's what she loves. That's what she's all about.
Frankly, say that something is good just because it agrees with my political narrative, when in reality, I don't find it entertaining.
There were positive reviews though, and I have to highlight this one from a website called Worth It or Woke for one of the funniest reviews I've read in a while. Here's an excerpt. The rest of the star-studded voice cast is perfectly adequate, and with talents like Roseanne Barr and Jay Moore, just to name a few, on board, they will almost certainly continue to gel as the season fully finds its voice. However, there is one among the cast who shines like a rainbow sun in unicorn heaven, Stand-up comedian Tyler Fisher plays Mr. Carponzi, an avatar for every radical progressive nut bar idea floating around the current cultural
Mr. Carponzi. I think you mean Carponzi.
toilet bowl. Maybe it's just my inner editor.
You know, can I just like take a moment? Like they can't even adhere to their own joke about like that character's pronouns. You know, like they can't do it. Which I think is actually pretty funny. Like they can't even be hateful within the confines of what they create properly.
Speaking, but this reads like it was written by a high school student. And if it is, I apologize, but please hire an editor that will expect more from a writer than shines like a rainbow sun in unicorn heaven. Based on these mixed reactions from the target audience, I think it's safe to say that the response to Mr. Birchum has been mixed. What hasn't been mixed was the absolute gold rush of creators desperate to dunk on this show. And let's be real, this video is part of that mob. Pointing out how terrible this show is pretty fun, and it's quite likely it will earn more money for people who mock it than the Daily Wire itself. I suspect all of this is meant...
That's probably true. Like, it probably will earn, like, Hassan more money than... than it will the Daily Wire, which is, frankly, I think incredibly funny to think about. Not a thought that had occurred to me yet. Oh, God. Oh, I found the crit. I didn't know it had one. Oh, God. Yeah, also, I think it's worth mentioning when we get to things like this where, like, clearly this show is a flop, right? Like, clearly it's not gonna make the Daily Wire any money. And that's when we need to remind all of ourselves that the Daily Wire is not created to make profit. It's created as a propaganda outlet. Like, it's literally funded. Its biggest funders are the, the brothers who do, fracking. Like, they're two billionaire fracking brothers. Like, that's, those people are who back the Daily Wire, so they never need to actually make money. They never need to actually be profitable. It's how they can afford to just have Matt Walsh crapping out turd after turd of a video. No, it's not the Koch brothers. It's the different set of brothers. You know, all these people tend to be related just because that's how money works in this country. Yeah, its main purpose is to solidify political positions.
To pretend as if the...
It's not the Koch brothers.
Left is outraged or frustrated.
Also, yes, one of the Koch brothers is dead, but it's not the Koch brothers.
Frustrated by this stuff, when really we're just finding ways to monetize it.
Waluigi, yeah.
And what I think it reflects is the morbid curiosity people have about shows like this. When they see trailers that look like absolute garbage being produced by some truly unlikable people, they want to know how bad it gets, without spending a cent or a moment of attention in a way that will benefit the company making it. And it seems like more than the Daily Wire are trying to get in on this conservative cartoon trend, as recently seen on Twitter with the
I
new
just had a
Norm
great
show.
idea. A show about the writers of a right-wing show like this, and showing how out of touch they are lol. No, I am not high.
Honestly, that could be pretty good. Like an Office-style comedy, but it's a writer's room. Like The Office / 30 Rock, but it's a writer's room for a conservative, like, television show. I think that'd be funny.
Actually, that is one of my pronouns. Also they, them, and me.
You're non-binary?
A series about an Archie Bunker ripoff that is neither offensive or funny.
When you coming back to the trophy shop? As soon as I get rid of this, which means I gotta take in that?
An animated show with a laugh track.
Billy is an emotional support dog and non-binary.
Oh.
God, can we please have like a back? I want these shows to have like 1 million episodes. Okay, I want Mr. Birchum and oh god, what was the name of this one? I'm gonna call it Gus, even though I know it's not called Gus. I want 1 million episodes of each show, mostly because that money will go to hardworking animators, and also that money will just be basically getting thrown in an incinerator for all intents and purposes. And I think that that is probably a better use of that money, frankly. The new norm, thank you. It's now called the new Gus.
Voice work from Dave Rubin.
I don't understand.
Hey, Castrix.
Black.
And an appearance by an animated Elon Musk.
Thank God for Elon Musk. And his shit was me.
While we're talking about the Daily Wire, though, I want to do a quick update on the health of the company. The last time I tried to dig up any numbers on what was going on, I noticed they weren't sharing any, and they still aren't. But I was able to track down a few pieces of information that can give
I mean, Jeremy Boring continually touts certain claims about how many subscribers they have. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't really believe them. I don't really believe the numbers he tells us.
us a sense of how the company's doing.
Because if you go by his numbers, like they have like, I don't know, 1/10 as many subscribers as Netflix, and that's very, very unbelievable.
A recent town hall hosted by company president Jeremy Boring gave us a few insights.
And these aren't the best of times. You all feel it. The social media giants have all but blunted our reach for the first time in the history of the company. Is that a surprise? They literally shut the country down in 2020 to stop Donald Trump from getting elected president. They just charged him with 34 counts of felonies that they can't name in this election. Of course, they're going to make it harder for us to do our job between now and November.
This is one of those incoherent conspiracy theories where they includes the US federal government, the New York district attorney, and social media companies. Apparently they are all working together, and one of the items on their agenda is to silence the Daily Wire. These town hall events, which had been traditionally used by the Daily Wire to announce big new initiatives, and this is the weakest one we've seen in years. Going back a couple of years, we can see a town hall that was hosted in a giant hall that included big announcements like signing Jordan Peterson, or even town halls that felt like they had bigger audiences and bigger news to talk about, like a $100 million initiative for kids content.
Yep.
Instead, this town hall is the shortest one by far.
Also, $100 million seems like it would get you a lot of children's content. Like, a lot? So, like, where did that money go? Like, they have, like, I'm gonna be generous and say 24 new shows for kids, but, like, there are a couple live-action shows, a couple animated shows, and, like, that's it. And then, like, Chip Chillas, which is, like, their big, you know, front and center masterpiece. You know? The money's not on screen is what I'm saying. Hey, Alex JT, we watching some Jose. We doing some React content. And I'm about to start doing my makeup. So that means I'm going to mute this and make the Jose video main screen. Also, again, go subscribe to Jose. All right? What are you doing? Here you go. Here's a link. Here's a link to the video. Give it a like, a subscribe. Do the things. Hit the buttons. And I'm going to get my makeup materials. I'll be right back. Got them in my backpack. Gonna finish drinking my water. right. You're also all gonna deal with me doing my hair. Got to make sure. Gotta make sure I get all of this right. Maybe I can get all my makeup on without any mistakes. You can go through your makeups of choice. Yeah. Boo-doo-boo-boo. Boo-doo-boo-boo. Don't need those. Don't need this. We'll probably need this. That. Need this. Need those. Excellent. I think I need to pluck my eyebrows. I think I already took care of that. Cool. I've been shown the chaos of makeup and it's slightly terrifying. Oh yeah. Makeup is like the most intimidating thing. I'm gonna start by putting on some under eye cream to help kind of even out my skin tone. Go. I believe in you. Thank you. It's very high pressure because I want to be as pretty as possible. Latex is very unforgiving, you know? Are these videos suggested? Yeah, I would highly recommend you all subscribe to Jose. Incredible content, especially if you like just like old sitcoms or television in general. Guy's got a lot going on. Hey, Doodle Burb. God forgives, Latex does not. I know, right? Okay. I also have to shake out my hair a little bit. I want to put in some hold so that I can put it up again. But then when I let it down later, it will stay. How you doing, Doodleburb? You've been streaming up a storm lately. Okay, there we go. You are unhinged. But in the best possible way. You are kind of unhinged. I wanted to try curling my hair today, but I'm really bad at doing it myself, so I think I'm gonna play it safe.
Ooh.
If you had to pick one video game to shove broken matchsticks up your whiz hole, how many matchsticks could you fit and why? I don't understand the picking of a video game part of the question. Hello, Lily Creme. Okay. Can anyone in this community be said to be fully, truly hinged? Maybe Paladin. Oh, thanks, Doodle Verb. Okay. And I will have to go in like, I don't know, like an hour-ish, maybe an hour and a half. Unhinged, you guys talking about me? Anyway, Biden better not step down tonight, because otherwise I'll be really sad and upset. I got places to be, fam. Well, John Bainbridge, logistically, I understand, like, the question, how many matchsticks would you put up your whiz hole, and why? And I understand that question. It's a gross question, but I understand it. I don't understand how picking a video game to shove the matchsticks there, I don't understand how that plays into the question of how many and why. You know? Latex Biden will step down at the party. Maybe. Who can say? Anything's possible in Biden's America. Biden will step down as soon as you get to the party out of pure spite. If that happens, I will literally go on not Instagram. On I'll be broadcasting live somehow. Okay. Now we got to put this up. Now, many of you have been asking, how do you do a bun? I'm going to answer that real quick, okay? Step 1, get yourself a scrunchie. I like these bigger ones. They're just kind of easier, and they're pretty cute too, okay? So, you put it on your arm, right? You put it on your wrist. Then, start pulling your hair back. Pull your hair back. Pull your hair back. Okay? You want to get all of your hair into like one hand. Okay? So now you have it, and you want the hand to be holding it, the one with the scrunchie. Okay? Then you put all of the hair through there, and make sure you try and clean up and grab all the ones in the back. I think I got most of them. So then you want to, with the other hand, grab the scrunchie, twist, and then put your hair through the new ring that you've made. Get like a nice little thing going there. And you grab the hair that came through the second one, then you just twist it around and put it through one of those loops. Bada bing, bada boom. You know, your results may vary, and if you want to make it look very clean and relatively professional, you grab a comb, use the wide end of the comb to just tighten the hair back. There you go. And you might have to give it a shot or two. But there you go. Instructions unclear, ripped off my scalp. Oh no. I can't help you with that. Does it have to be a comb? It doesn't have to be a comb, but you want like something that has wider bristles in any respect. Jack's about to pull a Vosh. Maybe. Better not. I'll be upset. Though, on the flip side, if that does happen, you guys will get to see me in a very hot latex outfit. Okay, now it's time to start the rest of this process. I need to get a makeup bulb. I need to go get that wet, and I can put on my foundation, which hopefully will look okay, given that I'm sunburned to hell. So, I will be right back. And I'll probably also use the bathroom real quick. Beep boop. Howdy, howdy, folks. All right. Putting on my foundation first. Hey, sweet blasphemy. How we all doing, folks? Hopefully. It will wind up being relatively okay. Hopefully I haven't burned my face too much. How we all doing? You guys got any questions for me? Gotta make sure you get real under the eyes. Oh, what brands? I mostly use Tarte Cosmetics. They make animal-friendly, like vegan cosmetics. And I figure, you know, if I can be animal-friendly, why not? Why are you so damn pretty? Wait until the latex pics drop tonight. I do have a latex outfit, because it is required to attend. And, you will be able to see it. I don't know that I'll be streaming in it, though if you're very good, I might stream sometimes. Apologize for my defeatist attitude. You don't have to apologize for disagreeing with me. Ever. As long as you're, like, polite in your disagreement, like, it's A-okay. Okay, but, like, in what context, Gwennifer? I need more information to answer your question. Okay. Got the baseline down. And I will absolutely need to refresh this, but it is okay for now. Oh, do I need a brush? Might need to go get a brush. I'll be right back. Should still be in this bag. Huh. Did it like fall into like one of these side? Huh. It might be in my purse, which I don't have with me. So, we're gonna do what we can. I don't really have a backup for a brush. So, do I want to do that? Aha! There it is. It was hiding. Knew it was around here somewhere. So I got my base coat on. I got one of these kind of mid-tier brush sizes. Use the larger end. Get a little bit of shine. You want that on your nose, under your eyes. A little on the chin. A little right above the mouth. If you're feeling a little saucy, you can do a little V up here as well. And of course, there are lots of different ways to do makeup. You can do it however you want. But now, I'm going to take the, we're going to start doing some contouring, okay? So, a little bit on the tip of the nose. Get a little bit dark. Then you want to go down either side of your nose in kind of that nose crevice, I believe is the scientific term for it. Get all up in that nose crevice. And then connect the nose crevice right above the nostrils. That little dark spot. It'll look a little bit funny. You will look a little silly. Trust the process. Then give like a little smile. Okay. And kind of underline your cheek up to your hairline here. Give it a nice little kind of curve. Go. So those are good. Now, I don't appear to have gone quite high enough. This. And we're gonna be blending all of this, so don't get too worried about like the whole, oh no, it looks silly, I'm gonna stop. Okay? I've never seen the original Sausage Party. Then you're gonna want to do like a little bit on your hairline. All the way around your face. You want to frame your face. Get a little bit into the hairline. Just so there's not like an awkward gap between your hair and the framing. So, kind of from one of these all the way around to the other one. Okay? Then, just start under your jaw. Go around. And if you screw up a little bit, that's okay. You want to get a little bit fancy, you can add a little contour to your neck too. Why not? It's a favorite genre of entertainment? Video games. I fucking love and adore video games. I just don't have time to play them. That's the big problem. Okay? Now, you did it. You did the contouring. Okay? We did it. Now it's time for this guy, the big brush. Okay? You're gonna want to get some kind of like, I don't know, like finishing powder, it's called. But it goes by a lot of different names. I like the Tarte Smooth Operator Amazonian Clay Finish. It's very nice. Though be aware, like if you have mineral allergies, it's probably not going to help. And then you just get some of that on the brush, and you start blending. This is the blending process, folks. And generally, you want to blend the spots you have made in kind of natural ways. Oh, nice. Horror. I do like horror. In video games, though, I can be kind of a big pansy, so I tend to like strategy games a lot. Though horror strategy, underutilized, very fun. I really want to try the game Soul Infernum, which is a strategy game about a fallen angel trying to conquer hell, and it looks fun. Okay. So like for the under eye shine, I blend up and away towards my hairline. For this, for the contouring on the cheeks, I want to go in. Find it easier. And make sure you don't forget to blend your nose. Because all of this is just kind of the baseline, the base coat. Do you think Biden will step down from the presidency? No. There's zero shot of that happening. But I do think he will step down from the candidacy. All right, I might need to do some more blending, but that step, maybe over here. Oh, and for your hairline, you want to blend up into the hairline. There we go. This is really useful. I never knew how to do contour. There should be a pinned post in the makeup channel of my Discord that has diagrams of every step that I'm doing right now. So if you need a refresher on any of that, we have a little how-to PDF in the Discord. Okay, so I finished the contouring stage, and again, you can go harder on the contouring. I tend to go pretty light. You can still kind of see it, but like, you know, your mileage may vary. What works for me might not work for you. You gotta experiment a little bit. Now, I like to do this kind of, I guess, blush. Next, calling it blush sounds weird though. And for that, just kind of on the cheeks. And very lightly kind of curve around the eyes. You don't want it too heavy up here, otherwise it can start looking really weird. But there we go. Got that going. And you don't need too much of it to make your point. If you put on too much, you end up looking like a, I don't know, like a 17th century pantomime artist. I don't know, like a Mr. Mime. There we go, nailed it. Now, what I have here is like it's called a skin filter, but basically I categorize this stage in like you do the blush and then you do like the shiny stuff. And I put a little bit of that on my nose and a little bit of it, 3 little dabs under my eyes. 1 in the middle, 1 down here, and then a little V up here. And then also under the eyebrow, it's very light, 3 little dabs. Now for most of this, I would use like a blender ball. And I'll use a blender ball at the end of this process, but right now I'm just going to use my fingers. So you want to go up and away, again, similar to what you did before with how you contoured. Up and away. And if you feel like you put on too much, spread it towards your eye. Kind of in a little triangle. And make sure you don't forget underneath your eyebrows. Rub it in down here. Might need to do a little bit more blending. And make sure you don't go too much with this, otherwise it can give you like a weird inverse Hitler stash. Not great. Not the look you want at a party. Or on a date. Or really in any circumstance ever. And then you can kind of rub that in a little bit in, you know, kind of a bigger triangle shape on your forehead. Again, try not to go too overboard with this. You don't want to look like a cult member. Or maybe you do. In which case, knock yourself out. What are we going to do next? After I finish my makeup, I'm going to keep playing Elden Ring, and we're going to finish that Jose video. And then you guys can pick my brain on politics. Let's see here. So, we've now finished the shiny step. I'm going to go over it with the blender ball real quick. And remember, it is very important to get your blender ball wet so that it doesn't pick up too much of the makeup on your face, because you do want that makeup on your face at the end of the day, presumably. Okay. Now, I really enjoy this, let's see, Sephora Anastasia eyebrow coloring that I got. It's very versatile. I got it in like kind of a reddish brown and like a dark brown. Because of my hair color, I'm gonna go with just the reddish brown. Usually I go with some kind of combination of the two. But just go over your eyebrows. And if you want like a different eyebrow shape, you can kind of do that with this by doing your brows like this. But you will need at the end of the day, like maybe pluck a little bit to give your eyebrows a bit more shape if that's kind of what you're going. Just be careful not to over pluck. Now, this has 2 different ends. The one I've been using to paint it on, it's kind of like this flat diagonal end. But this other end is kind of like swirly, has like little bristles on it. That's just for kind of like combing your eyebrow a little bit. So all of the hairs are kind of going in the direction you want them to go in. Nothing's like out of place or looking like You got like that one really long eyebrow hair, you know? And like my eyebrows, I'm probably gonna fuss over them before I go out, but this is good enough for now. Ooh, I would also like to try getting my eyebrows done someday professionally. That'd be nice. So, we've done eyebrows. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna fuss over these eyebrows later. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Now, we have to do the eyeliner, and this is usually where I might fuck up, so don't be too intimidated by eyeliner. You can use it just fine. I like to use these wax pencils. From Tarte. They're called Sex Kitten. Terrible name, wonderful product. And like different people have different ideas on how you do your eyeliner. Like some people really love liquid eyeliner. I've never been able to get the hang of it. But I, unspool it a little bit, have a little bit more than maybe you think necessary out. And then I just open my eye, look into the mirror, and I run it along the inner part of my eyelid. So you gotta be careful not to like poke your eye out, obviously, but like do it on the top and the bottom. Might need to do it a couple of times for the desired effect. Okay, did the bottom on both sides. Time to do the top. There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, one thing I will say is that there's also a little end here to help you like kind of erase mistakes. But you want to go a little bit heavier on the top as opposed to the bottom, because otherwise you kind of, like if you go heavy on the bottom, you get kind of like that sad girl kind of raccoon eye effect. So you want to do like once on the bottom and then like 3 times on the top. That's just my advice. And finally, yeah, you want to go a little heavier on the top, exactly. Then you want to, actually, before I do this, I'm going to do a step I rarely do. That's where you get these bad boys. You can pick these up for like $2, like basically anywhere. But kind of the little, this is for curling your eyelashes. The soft part goes on the bottom, and then you just go in close to your eye, close, and like kind of go up, and then you hold for like 5 to 10 seconds. It's kind of awkward. There you go. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do it again on this side because I don't think I got it as well as I did on this side. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Whew. Yeah, the eyelid control takes some practice, Olive Rider. Let's see. And now we do mascara. Mascara can be scary. Just remember, if anything happens, you can just wipe it off. It's okay. Also, for whatever reason, it helps to like hold your mouth open. I don't know why, but it helps to study like your face and your hand. And I blow on them so that they dry out and then don't smear all over my cheeks. All right. UD eye primer does not play around. It does not. Okay. Now I'm going to put a little bit of kind of this hydrating gloss on. And the coup de grace, I'm gonna go with this color, which I did not use last year with my latex, but I think it will bring it all together. Now we're basically done. However, I am going to use a setting spray. And the setting spray will go over my face,
Riverboat Jack,
kind of
can't
help
believe
things
it's been
stay
2
put.
years. Wow.
Chris Huggy, thank you for resubscribing. Been here for 2 years, Chris. Thank you so much. Hope you've enjoyed the ride. I know I have, and I hope that you continue to do so. You don't want to go too overboard on setting spray. You just want to like get it a little bit everywhere, you know? Your face shouldn't be super wet after you use a setting spray. Now, I actually forgot a step, which is on me. But I'm just gonna lightly go over my eyelids here. Gotta do some eyeshadow. There we go. Amber Brains, thank you. You have a good night too, okay? There we go. Took you through from start to finish, folks. I don't think I forgot any steps. I'm gonna do one more setting spray though. Cool. How did you get fitted for latex? I just took my measurements with like a measuring tape and then ordered accordingly. A lot of good latex sites will like fit it to your measurements. Places like Libidex tend to have really good sales, and they are also made to order. So, judgment-free zone. Thank you. Oh yeah, Harold Halibut looked really fun. Maybe not fun, but like interesting and like full of heart. Also, what time is it? It is 5:30. I think I got like we'll say 15 more minutes for the stream. There we go. And don't worry, keep your eyes peeled on Twitter, because I will be posting pictures in my outfit shortly. I got my thigh-high boots, got my belt, got my dress. It's gonna be good. Hell yeah. You did your full face in less time than it takes me to finish my brows? Well, Sweet Blasphemy, that's because I've practiced a lot, you know? And I also have like one face, you know, like this is my main makeup routine. Just the full main makeup routine. Like if I was trying a new look, it would take me a lot longer. Fit check? I mean, this is not the outfit I'm going on. This is just the outfit I decided to wear for stream because I wanted to be a little slutty. Thanks, Floof. Do you have Blue Sky? I do. Though I don't really post there because I'm a turd. Here we go. Let's finish this. Finish the fight.
Running for only 12 minutes, and the only new project announced was that the Daily Wire is partnering with Angel Studios for a movie called Sound of Hope, clearly trying to capitalize on the Sound of Freedom craze from last year.
They need to rename it The Sound of Jope.
The movie was July 4th, 2024, so if this is the first time you're hearing about it, that's probably a good indicator of how it flew under the radar for most people. In fact, on its opening weekend, it earned $6.4 million, which is a far cry from Sound of Freedom's eventual total of...
Okay, counterpoint, I'm actually really disappointed to learn Sound of Hope made $6 million, because just looking at it, the production value of that movie, it probably made, like, its budget back plus half. You know, like, that's kind of what we're looking at here. Did I just go in a circle? I did, didn't I? Ugh. Sent your ballot off today. Just realized that will be the last one I have to sign anything with my dead name. Congrats, Dragonfly. It's such a freeing notion to be able to let go of an old name. Wait, who raided in? I don't see anybody. Don't see an alert about a raid. Wait, oh, the budget of Sound of Hope was 8.5 mil? Damn. Okay. I mean, oh my god, what the hell? All right.
184 million. That doesn't mean this movie is terrible or made by awful people, of course, and some of that was made clear from a public statement from one of its producers, Letitia Wright. You may recognize her from the Black Panther and Wakanda Forever movies where she played Shuri, and in her statement she publicly distanced herself
that's probably
from
where
the
a
Daily
lot of
Wire.
the money went.
She wrote this on Instagram. To be clear, after we completed the production of this film, Angel Studios were brought on board to handle its distribution, and they later partnered with the Daily Wire. That was not my decision, and I was not given an update or made aware of this decision. I am in no way aligned or affiliated with the Daily Wire. I am thankful for all who want to positively champion this film and campaign to serve children. However, I do not condone using this beautiful film for divisive political purposes.
That's true. I think they bought the rights to distribute Sound of Hope, right? Letitia Wright is an anti-vaxxer. Yeah, I assumed that she partnered with Daily Wire deliberately. I'm trying to discern if, like, her statement on it is bullshit. You know? Like, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Because I kind of feel like it's bullshit.
Not why I joined the project. Jeremy Boring of the Daily Wire responded saying, "The Daily Wire is truly honored to partner with Angel Studios on such an important project. But such is the intolerance of the modern left that instead of celebrating this accomplishment and all it might mean, one of the film's producers, Letitia Wright of Black Panther fame, used the occasion to condemn the Daily Wire's involvement in sharing this message across the country." As an example of how the Daily Wire promoted the movie, an article from Deadline shared a Twitter post from Matt Walsh, where he blamed leftists trying to stop Christians from saving children.
Grateful.
And if this is part of the Daily Wire's marketing support, it's hard to buy Boring's comment that it's the left trying to advance some kind of political agenda here. And yes, Matt Walsh's tweet came out well before Letitia Wright made her statement. Rather than the Daily Wire trying to do a good deed, it seems more like they're trying to latch on to a movie with a positive message to advance its own entertainment company ambitions. Had the Sound of Freedom not made so much...
Oh god, guys, look. You can literally see the bodies in the tree, but they're part of the tree. That's kind of horrifying. The tree is literally made out of people. It's people! Hey, Limey Redneck. How you doing? Oh, No Justice did a raid on YouTube. Oh, when you said raid, I was like, it's on Twitch. No, it's on YouTube. Hello, No Justice raiders. Hello. Sorry. Yeah, No Justice is a good content creator you should check out.
Much money, I am deeply skeptical that the Daily Wire would have tried to get involved with the marketing and distribution of this movie. This whole episode does reflect the fact that mainstream Hollywood still wants nothing to do with the likes of the Daily Wire and its attempts to get into the entertainment industry. Going back to the Daily Wire town hall, there was kind of an update about Ben Key.
Over 125,000 families have watched over 100 million minutes of shows.
Okay, wait. 125,000 families is not... Okay. All right.
The kids love and parents trust.
For those wondering how this might translate to some kind of financial success, while an annual subscription for BentKey does in fact cost $100, fact is, BentKey is actually free for anyone who already has Daily Wire Plus. And since the number of subscribers there was last reported at 1 million, there's a good chance most of these BentKey downloads are being freely added by people who already have Daily Wire Plus subscriptions. They desperately need that Brett Cooper-led Snow White movie to somehow get people to download this thing more. And more importantly, buy new subscriptions. I feel like things aren't going well for BentKey right now. And as a reminder, they spent...
Yeah, it's almost like BentKey is like, I don't know, not actually a company and more like a propaganda outfit by a different name. It's almost like that's explicitly their goal. In like all of the meetings on BentKey, like they're pretty specific about saying, "Oh no, we're not a propaganda outfit. We're just here to make good old-fashioned entertainment with a certain political leaning." You know?
Nearly $30 million in the first year of this service's existence, and they're slated to spend another $70 million over the next 2 years. Unless they've changed course internally, it seems like this is losing them a lot of money. I will eat some crow because they announced that Lady Ballers was their second most watched piece of content, which genuinely surprised me. And it really speaks to what their audience wants to see. Not movies trying to be politically neutral, but rather their favorite conservative commentators, and period in cheesy comedy designed to mock marginalized people. And while they didn't announce it at the town hall, I'm guessing their most watched piece of content is the Matt Walsh documentary, What is a Woman, which came out several years ago. We did get a tiny bit of information.
Wait, has it really been that long? Has What is a Woman been out for several years? What is time? What is mortality? One day I am going to die, and that movie will continue to outlive and outlast me. It will be like the lonely statue in the middle of the desert, proclaiming that once there was a man named Matt Walsh who really didn't understand what a woman was. And by the end, really didn't have a coherent or cohesive answer. And I will have hundreds of millions of hours of more content than he did because I'm a streamer. So I'll be the one winning. I have way more statues.
And an article that was published by Axios that reported that the Daily Wire has earned $22 million in commerce, roughly translating to 10% of their revenue. Commerce includes the various products they sell, from razors to chocolates to the various offerings they have in their online shop. Though of that $22 million, the razors and various other grooming products account for $19 million, which means the transphobic chocolates and cigars and baseball bats autographed by Ben Shapiro didn't earn the company more than $3 million.
I'm sorry, wait, Ben Shapiro has signed baseball bats? Why? Also, handcrafted in Winona, Minnesota. Wait, I've been to Winona. I've been to the place Daily Wire manufactures their baseball bats. Yeah, like, does Ben Shapiro have a secret love of baseball that he's just never talked about? I feel like we're learning so much, and yet I am only left with questions. Like... Ow. Ow. There we go. Who is this for, right? Like, who is like, ah, yes, I need a Ben Shapiro baseball bat. Who is that for? Who's been eagerly chomping at the bat for that particular product? So you guys thought I was gonna say bit, but instead I said bat. It's a joke worthy of Mr. Birchum! Thematically appropriate.
$1 million in 2023. If we can extrapolate revenue value here, the company seems to be making roughly $220 million a year, which is an approximate growth of 10% from the last number we heard from them from over a year ago. And in that time, they've spent something like $30 million launching Bent Key alone. I also imagine producing several movies did not come cheap either. It really seems like their spending is outpacing their revenue growth here. And it makes me wonder how profitable this company was in 2023, or how profitable it's been in 2024 for that matter. It remains to be seen if Mr. Birchum will be a success for the Daily Wire, but I do think the company very much needs some kind of new talent or program to bring in new subscribers. I'll try to keep an eye on them, and hopefully we can have some fun talking about their next big project, the Pendragon Cycle, whenever that comes out, because I am most hungry for this. I suspect a car crash that will just be an absolute joy to witness. Or maybe it'll be good.
Really?
I would actually want it to be good because I like watching good television
Gonna
instead of
run
bad television,
away.
but somehow I doubt I'll be so lucky. I'm not a huge fan
Damn it.
of making videos about subjects that have already been covered in recent history, but I did notice when watching some of the videos made about Mr. Birchum, they felt a bit incomplete or were a little too focused
Daily
on
Wire
the
came out
first few
too.
episodes.
The Daily Wire's What is a Woman? Came out over 2 years ago. Wow. We're all gonna die someday. Huh. Crazy. Okay, folks, that was a wonderful video by Jose. Again, for the final time, go drop it a like, drop it a subscribe. Support our fellow leftist.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Here, we need,
Are you ready for a very radical statement?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Unburdened by what has been. What can be.
What can be.
Unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened
by what has been. What can be. Unburdened by what has been. What can be. Unburdened by what has been. What can be. Unburdened by what has been. I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. All in which you live, what came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Everything is in context. Fell out of a coconut tree? Coconut tree? You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Coconut tree? Fell out of a coconut tree? Everything is in context. All that you live came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. All that you live came before you. Imagine what can be unburdened by what has been.
Imagine what can be. I feel like we need to listen to that one more time. No! We need to listen to that one more time.
Are you ready for a very radical statement?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Then after that, I gotta take off, guys.
All in which you live came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Coconut tree.
All in which you live came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. All in which you live, what can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be?
What can be?
Unburdened by what has been. What can be? Unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened.
What can be?
Unburdened.
Unburdened by what has been. What can be? Unburdened by what has been. What can be? Unburdened by what has been. I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. All in which you live, what came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Coconut tree? You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Coconut tree?
Fell out of a coconut tree?
Coconut tree?
Coconut tree? Think
Coconut
you just
tree?
fell out of a coconut tree?
Coconut tree?
Coconut tree?
Coconut tree.
Everything is in context. All that you live came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. All that you live came before you.
Coconut tree.
Imagine
Coconut
what
tree.
can be unburdened by
Coconut
what
tree.
has been.
Coconut tree. Coconut tree. Coconut tree. Excellent. We're all coconut pilled here. Every last one of us. We're coconuts for Kamala. Also, I can't seem to use my light attack. Huh, interesting. Here's that I can do everything else though, so that's good. I really just want to get to another bonfire. Coconut tree? Coconut tree? Wait, does this really not go anywhere? Am I just doomed? Am I supposed to make that jump? Kind of looks like I'm supposed to make that jump. I guess. No, I missed. Oh, I did it. I did it. I'm the best. I am the best gamer that ever gamed this game. Ballarat. Hell yeah. I did it. I did it my way. Oh, God. And I forgot, I can't actually, I can't use my light attacks. This actually kind of sucks. There we go. Whew. Scaring me. Got some shadow in me. Can I, is there a place to like rest my weary soul? No? Okay, I'm just gonna turn to desktop. Hopefully it starts me right there. No cheese, folks! Hey! Alright, folks, I gotta get going! I gotta skedoodle, but you guys can expect images of me looking very hot and sexy on twitter.com later, and maybe a live stream if Joe Biden steps down. If not, I have better things to do. Alright. Goodbye, everybody. Good luck. And I will see you on the other side. Bye, everybody.
Are you ready for a very radical statement?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Everything is in context of all in which you live and came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. Of all in which you live, what can be unburdened by what has been. 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 I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. All in which you live, what came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Coconut tree? You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Everything is in context. Fell out of a coconut tree? Coconut tree? You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Coconut tree? Fell out of a coconut tree? Everything is in context. All the trees you live came before you. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. All the trees you live came before you. Imagine what can be unburdened by what has been.